champion and two-time national champion Christian Miller.
Once again with Christian Miller taking them down.
Here's college football playoff national champion Christian Miller on Tide 100.9 and 12:30 a.m. WTBC.
And welcome into this free-for-all Friday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Hope you guys are doing well, and I'm sure you guys are ready for the weekend, as am I. So we're going to do our best to get you guys ready for that as we roll through the next 2 hours or so, talking some good old sports talk here on the Miller's Edge like we like to do. We got Jackson, again, behind the glass, and we're going to be talking plenty of Alabama football, plenty of SEC media days that we're catching up on, so many clips and quotes that we still have to break down and listen to. So I'm looking forward to doing that because it's going to get a little juicy today, Jack. So we'll dive into some of the disrespect that's been coming out, man. And really at this point, I feel like it's primarily coming from like two sources. You got Paul Feinbaum and a little Stephen A. Smith, two guys with the big networks, and we understand clicks and getting, I guess, attention and engagement is the word I'm looking for. It's definitely big for what those networks are looking for. But that being said, I feel like there's a line, and it's at times felt like they've almost crossed that line with some of the takes that they've had. So I'm wanting to talk about that a little bit. We'll play those clips and get y'all's thoughts on that. 205-342-9904 is the number to the program. We'd love to get y'all's thoughts on everything we talk about, listen to, and react to on the show. And while we got plenty of football to talk about, there's some breaking news that I feel like, Jackson, we got to mention this because this came out probably 15 minutes ago, and this is in the NBA world, but I think it's probably going to grab everybody's attention because it features arguably the best basketball player of all time. LeBron James has officially, well, he didn't necessarily announce it, but Shams has announced that LeBron James will be signing with the Philadelphia 76ers on a 2-year, $8 million deal with the player option that was, I guess, according to Clutch Sports and his agent and good friend, Rich Paul. Jackson, I feel like that's kind of a shocker here. I don't think many people necessarily expected LeBron to choose Philadelphia, at least maybe initially. Remember, the teams that were really kind of stealing the show in the LeBron sweepstakes was Golden State, the whole, I guess, pairing up with Steph Curry. Everybody was looking forward to maybe seeing that. That would look kind of like a little all-star team maybe, and bring back some, I guess, nostalgia of those two guys and Draymond, that organization going at it through the years in the championships. But then you had Miami, right, who just got Giannis Antetokounmpo, and he's down there with Big Bam, and you're thinking, man, it could be a Miami return with LeBron. They just got some really good players in their front court. Clearly LeBron would probably feel good having that. But then you look at Cleveland, right, the place where it all started, and they got a good squad as well in the East, and people thought maybe he could return to his roots. But it ended up being the Philadelphia 76ers, which many people would consider them to have the best starting five in the league right now after the Jaylen Brown trade. You got Joel Embiid. You got some young talent. You got some guys in the backcourt that are very talented. And don't forget this. This all ties to Alabama because guess who they drafted in this most recent NBA draft? LeBaron Fallon. So not many people are probably going to throw his name out there when you're talking about, hey, LeBron just joined the 76ers. But I've seen a lot of people talk about them not having a bench. Well, I know they've got a really good backcourt already. But throwing LeBaron Fallon in the mix, a guy who also is a scorer, just like the other players that they have on that roster, I'd feel good having. I know he's a rookie, but I'd feel good having a guy like that coming off the bench for me. I'm excited to see how this thing works out. So there are some question marks, Jackson. Some people are trying to figure out how this is going to come together. You have a number of guys that are going to want the ball. They're going to want to score. How could those egos potentially clash? We'll have to see, but I'll be honest with you. I don't know if I necessarily expected this, especially after we were talking about the whole neon on the lie detector and the Heat leaking the press conference. Jackson, do we think there's a chance that the Heat kind of turned him off by spilling the beans? Do you think this was a last-minute switch? I highly doubt that would make him alter his decision, which we know. I mean, this is a big decision. He's like 41, right? I mean, it seems that he signed a 2-year deal, which is actually kind of – and that part is one of the most interesting things for me. I was thinking this was his last
1 year. Yeah, I thought it would be a 1 year.
Yeah.
That's right around the league.
But it's showing a 2-year deal, and he's got a player option. So, I mean, LeBron doesn't seem like he's slowing down at any point. But I guess I'd jokingly say I don't think that the Heat, I guess, I turned him away. Not turn him off, but turn him off by accidentally scheduling that press conference. But that is kind of weird because today's the 24th. That was for like the 27th. Maybe they just wanted to create a buzz on social media. I don't know. You tell me. I don't know how much you keep up with the NBA. I mean, what does this news mean to you? How do you think this plays out, Jackson?
I can't say that I'm the biggest NBA fan. I do like to watch. I'm a Hawks fan, so the Hawks have been in the dumps, so I've kind of been out of the loop and on most of the NBA stuff. But I do still pay attention. The Luka trade. Remember watching that go through and that blowing my mind, and now this. I'm like, I was low key kind of looking forward to maybe seeing a Steph Curry, LeBron James team up there in Golden State. That's kind of what I was hoping for, but. In my opinion, like you said, I do think this now is the best starting five in the NBA in Philly. Going back to the East, it's a little bit of an easier side of the league, I would say. But I don't know how they're going to, like you said, I don't know how they're going to, manage all those egos and who gets the ball, who scores the points. Does LeBron step up and lead like he did in LA? I would assume so. I'm excited for it, that's for sure. And like you said, LeBaron being there, I think no better guy to learn under than the man himself.
Absolutely. No, I agree 100%.
Ring, probably. I mean,
Well, we know LeBron's chasing the ring, right? And when you talk about the roster that they have, again, maybe don't have the depth quite yet. I mean, I'm sure they still could sign some guys, but they're starters, man. They've got some serious talent to work with. And when you add LeBron, I mean, even before you added LeBron, I think a lot of people were very high on their starting five and consider them the best starting five in the league before he was in the fold. Now that he's in the fold, like you mentioned, being like that leader, I mean, I feel like he's that kind of field general, right? He's going to be that alpha. Doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to be trying to play how he played in years past, because he's talked about wanting to be a little bit more off the ball. And we all know, I mean, LeBron plays point half the time, right? Like, we know he can score points, but he's a facilitator. I mean, the dude, he wants to set other people up. So I don't think there'll be too many issues there. Maybe last shot situations. I mean, wondering who's going to be that guy. Clearly he's been that guy in his career, but you got a number of players that can really effectively score. But this was a series of tweets, Jackson, that LeBron put out. I'm going to read them real quick. I'll make it full screen here for our chat. Again, we stream live every day on YouTube, various platforms, on X, at The Miller's Edge. Check us out. We'd love to have you guys in here. LeBron tweeted about, 4 different tweets, and it reads, "I thought I was done when the season ended. I wasn't ready to announce it, but I knew I needed some time to really decide, but I was pretty sure I played my last game. I was honest at that last press conference when I said I needed to look at myself and decide if I still love the game. I still truly love this game, and I have more to give. The last few weeks have really been special. I've never been able to have no clue what to do and take real time to just think. I've had an incredible few months with all the people I love trying to figure it all out. This is my last decision. I'm not going for money. I'm not going for family, but I am. What am I really playing for at this point? I still want to sacrifice. I still want to work. I still want to grind. I still want to compete to win and have a chance at that feeling of winning another championship. I believe I can help make the Philadelphia 76ers a championship team, and I am excited to energize a new fan base and start this incredible journey one last time. Thank you, LA. Miami, I'll forever love. And the Northeast Ohio will always be home." And then a couple emojis to sign off on those series of tweets there. Pretty interesting stuff, Jackson, because, I mean, he pretty much said, hey, I really didn't think I was going to continue playing. I thought I played my last game, which some people speculated that, but I don't think people really believed it. But it sounds like that actually was going to be the case until he probably – if I had to guess what happened was, because we've seen him, or at least I've seen clips of him out enjoying himself, which a lot of guys do, during the offseason, right? But he probably was trying to get a sense of retirement. And one thing I know about when you go from playing a sport at the highest level to not having as much to do, at first, like he said, it's nice not to have these obligations or these, I need to go train. Oh, I need to do this. But then after a while, you're kind of like, damn, I need something to do, right? Like, that's why I love having this radio show. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I mean, I don't all the other stuff I do, whether it's the real estate stuff, I mean, like, I don't have like a job, right? So, like, I understand the feeling. sometimes I have too much time, right? Even though I'm busy doing a bunch of other stuff. But the point I'm saying is it's nice to have something to really go. And he could have obviously done whatever, right? I mean, if he wanted to get into commentating, we all know it's probably something he could do without even blinking an eye. But he probably got a taste of that retirement life, and it probably felt good at first, Jackson. But somebody like him with his work ethic, he probably was like, you know what, I still got some left in the tank. And he wants, if I had to guess, when he does officially hang it up, he probably wouldn't have felt great if he looked back and said, man, I still had a couple years in me that I could have tried to just see what could happen. And I think it's the right decision. I mean, basketball is a lot different than football, right? If it was football and we're talking about, hey, your body's been breaking. I mean, granted, I'm sure he's got plenty of wear and tear, but a little bit different of a sport. The way he played last season, there's not a doubt in my mind he can go contribute in Philly. I mean, we've always said, I mean, he really could. I'm not saying he'll ride the coattails of a young team, but like we've seen, you know what I mean, older players kind of be those locker room leaders. Their role is diminished now. It's just a little bit different because we're talking about a guy who, for his whole career, been the focal point of the team. I mean, he is LeBron James. So I get it would be a little bit different, but I like the move. I think it's cool to always see some type of shakeup, right? Like seeing him in Philly is cool. I almost was thinking like if he went back to Miami or if he went back to Cleveland, like I think it would be cool initially. Then for some reason I feel like it would kind of just wear off. But now this is like a whole new challenge, whole new team, new fan base. Like you mentioned, it's kind of like, all right, let's see how this plays. I feel like it's a little bit more exciting. So I think I'm looking forward to it.
I agree because when he went to LA, we knew he probably had another at least 8 seasons. Turned out to be just that, and then now, to me, this feels a little like Brady to the Bucks. You know, like he could have gone into retirement right off in the sunset. Now he's going into a new fan base, new city that he's never played for before. Yeah. Can he do it? I think he probably can, especially with the roster he's put in that Philly has put behind him. I will also say though, will Embiid be healthy for the vast majority of the season and in the playoffs? Because that's kind of been his issues and what's kind of held Philly back.
That's definitely something to consider, right? I mean, last thing you want is another, what is it called, a Anthony Davis situation where the guy's there 1 minute, he's gone the next, and it's just back and forth. So, I mean, I guess we'll have to see how the health of Joel Embiid works out and see kind of the depth that they can try to work with there in Philly. But it sounds to me like it's going to be a fun little journey. He makes it seem like it's only 1 year, but the deal is 2 with the player option. So I don't know if that's just in case he kind of has second thoughts again. I don't know, but I guess we'll kind of just anticipate this being maybe one of his final seasons in the NBA, which is kind of crazy to think about because growing up, I mean, LeBron was always like my favorite player. Like the guy always – listen, I'll be honest. I don't really have a favorite team. I'm more of a LeBron guy, just kind of follow him. So I'm looking forward to it because now I can cheer for LeBaron Philon. I got LeBron with the 76ers. It'll be fun. Kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone there, having a Bama guy and, of course, LeBron James on the team that I guess I'm not going to call myself a fan. I never was like a Lakers fan, never was really a Heat fan. I'm just a LeBron fan. I just keep up with that team, so I'll just say that. I'm a follower of the 76ers, not a true fan. I don't want them to get mad at me. I'm not a bandwagoner. I'm just following LeBron James. That said, we got to hit a timeout when we come back. We'll start discussing some more football talk coming out of SEC Media Days. Main thing I really want to talk about is the disrespect, man. We got to address it, right? A little bit different. This ain't the players saying we're addressing disrespect. We're going to address the disrespect that we've heard in the media side, going at our coach, going at the not fan base, but going at Alabama, right? Going at our program and talk about, is it deserved, right? Do we deserve the disrespect that we're seeing? Is Coach DeBoer? We'll talk about all that and more coming up right here on this free-for-all Friday edition of the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC.
If you find yourself in a wreck, keep 3 things in mind. First, call the police. Second, take pictures of the scene. Third, call me. I'm attorney Steven Mizrano, and I win. My firm is committed to fighting the big insurance companies and making sure you get the money you deserve. Call today for a free consultation. I don't get paid unless I win.
All right, let's check in with the chat. Let's get some of these clips pulled up real quick. First one, let's start with Stephen A, man. We'll start with the Stephen A one. That was one of the most recent ones. We'll start with that one. All right, let's check in with the chat, man. See who's in here. Crystal says, good afternoon, Roll Tide from SC. Only 43 days until Alabama football. Shout out to my good old pal, Gussie Bush, man. He wore number 43 here when we were in school, man. I don't know too many other 43s other than what unless I'm forgetting. Y'all help me out with that one. But Gussie Bush, man, my good old friend. He wore a 43. Play linebacker here. Sorry, I'm trying to plug my phone up so we can charge a little. There we go. All right, now we're cooking. All right. We got Ramon. He says, hello, Christian. Ready for the football season this year? How about LeBron joining the 76ers? Yeah, that's kind of caught me by surprise. I don't know if and I hadn't been keeping up a whole bunch with like the latest kind of what was going on, but I'm kind of surprised a little bit. I think a lot of people are a little shocked. Arthur, what's up? Friday, yes, sir. We got Money. Says, good morning, Roll Tide. Damn, I knew y'all was going to start with this LeBron mess. What do you mean? I mean, listen, it's the biggest talking sports talk, man. I mean, listen, I know y'all are used to watching, strictly Bama podcasts, which I get. We kind of give that vibe, which, I mean, we're kind of like 75% that. But, I mean, then they were, a sports talk radio show. So we got to hit on, like, the biggest topics, right? I mean, LeBron, I feel like that's, you got to mention that. It's worth mentioning for sure. Let's see. As Hot Liquors can trade Bronny for LeBaron now. I don't think I don't know about that one. LaFlop on the graphic. Yeah, that was come on, LaFlop. Come on, man. You need to change that. Pass that on to SGA, right? Listen, LeBron flopped a little bit, yes. But sometimes I feel like it started kind of going the opposite, right? I feel like that he wasn't getting a lot of calls, What's up, Mike? We got Mike in here. Who else we got in here? Mike says ESPN freeing up money to sign the Miller's Edge replace game day. Oh, man. Nah, could you imagine if the passer Payne was actually, you know what? He actually would be a really good fit on he would fit in with Stephen A. and Paul Feinbaum. To be honest with you, matter of fact, that is a little more his speed. I don't know. I'm probably a little bit too much of a fence rider, just kind of, what you see is what you get type of guy. I don't know. He probably would be a good fit for sure. Dan, what's up? Welcome in. We got Nick. We got Jason. What's up, man? Stephen A. needs to shut the hell up. Well, unfortunately, we're about to listen to a clip from him. So just let us get through this clip, then we'll let him shut the hell up. Here we go. And welcome back into this free-for-all Friday edition of the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230. WTBC. All right, Jackson, we got to talk about it, man. We've been talking plenty about SEC Media Days. We'll continue talking about it, clips and comments and quotes, everything that's come from it. But I want to start here, right, with the theme of the disrespect that we've been hearing and seeing coming out of SEC Media Days, right? And I mentioned it earlier, particularly from the two gentlemen on the outside of this clip. Again, where I'm referencing what we're sharing here on our stream screen. So check us out on our streams at the Miller's Edge. Stephen A. Smith, Paul Feinbaum, right? They've had a lot of words for Alabama football, for Coach Kalen DeBoer. And I want to listen to a couple of these clips, Jackson. I want to discuss them. I want to see what you guys think about these clips, right? So we'll listen to them and we'll decide, is it justified? Is it too much? I'm sure I know the answer already, but let's start with this Stephen A. clip here because we've listened to Paul Feinbaum the past couple of days. I want to give Stephen A. shot, and we'll see what he had to say regarding Alabama and head coach Kalen DeBoer.
Money. He's still getting paid more. He's still getting paid more than Nick Saban was. And here's my thing. I know. The changing of the landscape. You know what you signed up for. You accepted it. And the fact of the matter is Alabama has every right to expect. When Kirby Smart talked, what did he say? We lost in quarterfinals last 2 years, Notre Dame and Ole Miss respectively. That's unacceptable. We got to play smarter. We got to play bigger. We got to perform bigger in bigger games. We can't settle for this. That's what you want to hear if you're Georgia. You want to hear that. You want to hear a coach, a Hall of Fame coach, a legendary coach sit up there and say, that was unacceptable. We can't continue to go in this trend. I understand how things have changed with college football. We got to change with it. We got to listen. We got to adapt. We got to adjust. We got to sit up there and become a bit more efficient, period. We're the Georgia Bulldogs. That's what Kirby Smart said. Who the hell, why the hell can't Kalen DeBoer say that? You know why he didn't say that? Because this is the elephant in the room that we never address. Some coaches don't want that smoke. They don't want that heat. They want the freedom to go to work every day. And, I won 11 games. I went 11-4. Instead of they're looking at the 11 wins. They ain't looking at the 4 losses. They ain't looking at the 4 losses that had people debating whether or not they should have been in the college football playoffs instead of somebody like Notre Dame and stuff like that. Do you remember that Alabama got their ass kicked in the SEC championship game too? They did that as well. Let's not forget that. See, you want the money, you want the title, you want the position, but you don't want the smoke that comes with it. When you talk like that, that's what you're saying. You don't want it. And let me tell you something. Then go someplace else. Get the hell out of Alabama. Because with what Nick Saban accomplished, you want somebody that wants that smoke. And you want to look at your troops and you want to go like this. Yo, we got what it takes to win a national championship. If you don't believe it, get the hell up out of here because I'm here to win championships. That's the kind of mentality that you got to have. I don't hear that from Kalen DeBoer. That's my problem.
Man, so you talk about heat and going at somebody. I mean, Stephen A., that almost felt a little personal. Clearly it's not. At least I wouldn't think it is. I don't even know how many times they may have crossed paths. I do know Stephen A. has been very vocal. He's been very passionate when it comes to speaking on Alabama. When it was Coach Saban here, I feel like he was, quote unquote, maybe an Alabama fan or Nick Saban fan. He always spoke very passionately and very highly of the program. And so I don't think it's coming from a place where he's like personally attacking Coach DeBoer intentionally just because he doesn't like him. I think he's probably amongst the group of people, Jackson, because there is there's a big number of people that, and I wouldn't call them outsiders, but they're not really Alabama fans, but they've watched Alabama from afar. And the fact that they are on the outside looking in and they're not seeing all the little details, what typically happens, in my opinion, is they really hold that standard and they hold it firm. And it's like their expectations are that everything should look identical to how it looked under Coach Saban, not just from a wins and losses standpoint, from a championship standpoint, from the way the team is coached, the culture, how that looks, how the way they practice. Like he's one of those people where if something isn't in alignment to how it was under Coach Saban, even if it's something small. Remember year one, they were even going at Coach DeBoer's attire, which I get it, differences. And then if it doesn't seem up to a certain thing, it can come off a certain way. But at that point, we're really nitpicking, right? we're really, just like the music at practice year one was like, you would have thought Kalen DeBoer was the devil. And I'm a former player, and I took pride in how old school we were, and we didn't really partake in stuff like that. But I also was very understanding to the fact that virtually all football teams listen to music at practice now. When I got to the NFL, we listened to music at practice. Granted, the team I played for was not very good. But if you watch other schools, right, even the good school, even with old school coaches, that's just kind of a new thing. And so I just think there's a group of people that aren't really open-minded when it comes to this stuff. And their expectations are just set on it needs to look like what it like with Coach Saban. And if there's something that's out of whack, they're going to pile up and pile up and pile up. And I think that's what we're witnessing here, not only from him or whether it's Feinbaum or just some of these national analysts when it comes to Alabama. This is why I disagree with him saying that Coach DeBoer does not want the smoke. I find it hard to believe that a guy that wouldn't want the smoke would choose to take this job. I'm not saying it's impossible. Of course, there's people that would just jump at the job just so they could say they coached at Alabama, then at that point start running from it. I don't think that's the case at all, but I lean more into, he probably understood, maybe not to the full extent, because I think he probably learned in real time, really how high these expectations are. I think he thought he knew they were going to be high and probably what that was going to feel like. But I think it's a different level once you get in it and you live in it and you realize every little thing you do is going to be scrutinized and criticized. And I think he's learning and adapting. But I also would say this, Jackson, to me, when you look at what he's done, and you hear people say like the 4 losses and they repeat those things, they really hammer in on all the negatives. And it goes back to the point I'm always trying to make. When people lean too hard on the negatives and don't even try to throw in the positives, it's hard for me to say, like, I respect that take, because I think you have to look at the whole picture, right? And the reality was, I mean, like, yeah, there's been bad moments, right? There's been some bad. Like, we know that, right? You know, the way in which we've lost multiple times, unexpected losses, losses to teams we shouldn't have lost to, poor performance in the postseason, really both the first year and this past year. That's all stuff that could and should be criticized fairly. But to make it seem like somebody's not ready for it and they're just, enjoying the fruit of the job and not really, I don't think that's the case at all, right? I mean, the guy is definitely a competitive guy. Everywhere he's gone, he's had success, right, for the most part. And I don't think that's going to be anything different here at Alabama. Is it going to play out that way? We sure hope so. We don't necessarily know. Are there signs that it might not necessarily play out the way we're all hoping it will, including him, right? Again, he wants to win. Like, it's not like the dude's just having a good time, right? I don't think it's great to coach at Alabama, but it's probably not fun having the media breathing down your neck when you're not winning and you want to win. Like, let's not make it seem like this guy's just like on an island here. I mean, he's living in Tuscaloosa, great place, but you get the point, right? And then last thing I'll throw out there is, here's my thing, Jack. So with where Alabama's at right now, the expectations are so different to other people that he's always going to be fighting an uphill battle. I mean, going back to the thing we talked about yesterday, if he don't win a national championship, he could probably win 3 SEC championships, but not win a national championship, and they still would probably act like his tenure here was a failure. That's just, it is what it is. He was the man that followed the man. So this doesn't necessarily surprise me that people are still reacting this way. And if anything, this is my whole thing, because I also heard, Jackson, that people were saying they felt like DeBoer had a poor performance at SEC Media Days, or they didn't really like, kind of like what Stephen A. was saying, what he had to say. Do I think he always does the best job when it comes to being in front of the camera or microphone and really putting the right messages out there to really write the narrative, to really establish, not necessarily, encouragement, but you get what I'm saying, but to really get people to buy into, like Stephen A. is saying, this is what I wanted to hear. I want to hear him talk. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter what you say in front of a microphone. It's about what you do on the football field. And the way I perceived it, unlike others, I think they heard, hey, he's not really mentioning championships. That means he's not confident. He's running from the smoke. I hear more of a, hey, we're trying to be more process oriented, right? Like, of course, our standard is to win national championships. We know that is already understood, but we won't get there if that's all we're focused on, right? Of course, you have that in the back of your mind because that's the reason you're going to work. But at the same time, you don't need to put that on the forefront and talk about it all the time. Like for us, we had our blocks. Like every time we played a game each week, we had our pyramid. You probably have seen it, right? It used to be right outside the locker room each week. When we get a win, all the players on the team would sign the block, and we'd go one block at a time. The block for the national championship and the SEC championship and playoff, whatever, that was always there. Yet we would focus on one thing at a time. And I think that's just kind of what he was trying to emphasize, right? Like, and I'm pretty sure the question was pertaining to him. So he probably was under the impression, I don't want to make this about me. I don't want to make this about, hey, me as Kalen DeBoer, the head coach at the University of Alabama, I know my legacy is going to be rooted in national championships. I'm setting out to win a national. To me, that sounds a little bit more I instead of we. And I think he just wanted to say, yes, that's the goal, but we are going to focus on being the best football team possible day in and day out. And that's what's ultimately going to lead to the results that everybody is expecting from us, which is to win a national championship. That was the way I perceived it. Not that he was running from anything or he was, any less confident in his team or his ability to coach this team. More so, we got to focus on what we're doing, on what's in front of us right now to get to that point, because we got plenty of work to do. That's how I heard it. maybe other people heard it different. Kind of similar to like Lane Kiffin. People are saying national championship or bust. If you heard him during his press conferences, he was kind of bringing it back to reality. He was almost pumping a little bit more patience in there. I don't think people are going to think that means that Lane Kiffin doesn't expect or is trying to win a national championship year one. He just realistically knows they have an uphill battle, and people are creating these expectations. That's energy that can be put into the process, right? So I personally, that's how I took it. I know Stephen A. and others took it a different way. How did you kind of receive Coach DeBoer at SEC Media Days, Jackson? And do you think Stephen A. is way too far off on this one?
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you. I do think, both him and Feinbaum, if you listen to that clip, Jordan Rogers, in like the entire segment that clip is from, Jordan Rogers was the only one on that panel that was making any sort of logical sense in my mind, because Stephen A. and Feinbaum are both over here blowing smoke about, oh, he didn't say this, he didn't say that. Alabama, he's not the right fit. Well, you don't know if he's the right fit or not. You haven't given him time to prove that he is the right fit. And in my opinion, he's shown you that he can be the right fit because he's taken you to an SEC title in his second season. He's taken you to a road playoff win in his second season. Did he lose the SEC title and the Rose Bowl in, not a satisfactory fashion? Would it matter? Losing is losing. You don't want to lose anyway. So what's the difference if it's 10 points or 40 points? You're still an L is an L.
Yeah.
That's the way
true.
I see it. But also, like, going back to the fit, just because you don't like the way a coach says something and you want to put him in this box that you have for what Alabama's coach should be or should look like or should sound like, doesn't mean that if he's outside that box, he's wrong or not the right fit for the program. He's a different coach than Nick Saban. This is an entirely new adjustment and transition period, not only for Alabama and Alabama fans, but also for the rest of the college football world. And they're ready to pounce and look to crown a new whoever the next Nick Saban is. And right now they're leaning towards Curt Cignetti because right after they were done talking about Alabama in that segment on First Take, they went straight into dissing Kirby Smart and saying he ain't got the luster he used to have anymore. And it's like, What are we doing here?
Probably a little too soon to be, anointing Curt Cignetti, which I think he's a phenomenal coach, and I have a lot of confidence that he's going to do a great job in Indiana. But for all we know, that could have been, the top right for him, and he made this point. It's a good point. Can't really go up from what he did last year. So unfortunately, he's probably going to end up starting. He's probably going to see himself in a little bit of that kind of situation because once you set the bar so high in 2 years of being at Indiana, it is probably going to be tough to, kind of relive some of those because I don't think anybody's necessarily expecting him to be able to do that again. Now, I think they'll expect him to be competitive, be in the playoff hunt, maybe make a run, but going undefeated in this day and age. I know he just did it, but definitely not an easy thing to do. We got to hit a timeout. When we come back, we'll keep discussing this. Plus, Paul Feinbaum had joined the next round and elaborated even further on his interpretation of what Coach DeBoer said. Maybe we need to circle back and play that part from his press conference so you guys can hear directly what Coach DeBoer had to say. Because, again, he's taking a little bit of heat. I interpret it differently than these gentlemen did, and I'm sure you guys probably did, but we'd love to get y'all's thoughts on it. 205-342-9994. I know we got Smitty on the phone lines. Got a bunch of folks chime in on the chat. If you guys want to get in on the action, join us on the streams, call us on the phone lines, and we'll do that right here on this free-for-all Friday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC.
Some things can steal your sunshine. I just got my hair.
All right. We got the next clip pulled up. We're rolling. We got Smitty on the phone lines. All right. Let's see. Let's check in on the chat, see what you guys had to say while I was going on a little bit of a rant. JJ Ramon's in here. What's up, man? Roll Tide. Smitty says only thing the board needs to tell the team in fall camp is the media and a good number of the fan base say y'all ain't ish. Make them eat crow. I mean, that's always going to be a good motivating factor. I mean, I'll be honest, it does get kind of old sometimes, though, because you know what ends up happening, man? You can just tell, like, sometimes, like last year, like when the players start talking with the media and stuff, like, not saying they take it out on the media, but you can start getting a sense that they've heard all the noise and they're starting to get frustrated, and rightfully so. But then it's just kind of like, I don't know. You're just like, man, I hope they're able just to hear it, take it as motivation, and then just kind of keep it moving. I don't want them dwelling on it or making that their sole focus. You know what I mean? That's the only thing I would add to that, right? Take it, remember it, and then just keep on working, man. Latoya, what's up? Welcome in. Hey, and if you guys haven't, man, hit that like button on y'all's way in, or if you just haven't already, we appreciate that. Always helps us out here on the channel. We're growing, man. We hit our 5K mark, and we're steady climbing, and likes have been going really good. So I appreciate you guys doing that. Money said the boring staff don't care about what people think of them. Yeah, I mean, I'm not too sure, but I feel like that can be a good and bad thing. Like, you want to care enough to where it is that motivating factor, but you also don't want to care too much where it's distracting you, right? So I think there's a little bit of a healthy balance that you should have. I don't like it when it seems like people just kind of brush it off, where it's just like, oh, we don't care. Only thing that matters is us. But then their actions aren't lining up with that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, normally people that talk like that, they put their head down and they go bust their ass to make changes. I feel like we were hearing that type of, I guess, talk last year. Then sometimes it didn't really seem like it was in alignment with like the results. Like, we would hear them talk about feeling disrespected and we're just focused on us and we're going to do this, that, and the third. And then they come out like the following week and it's still not right. That would be my only complaint. So I feel what you're trying to say on that, Money. I definitely understand. And welcome back into this free-for-all Friday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. All right, we got let's do this. We'll go to Smitty real quick. We'll take Smitty's call, then we'll go listen to Feinbaum in a second. But let's get Smitty on here. 205-342-9904. Smitty, talk to me, man. What do you think about that Stephen A clip?
Man, good brother. They're a bunch of hot air blowers, man. How's it going?
It's good, man. How about you?
Man, it's good. He's just in Atlanta visiting family and making me cook and everything. I'm supposed to be on vacation.
You love bragging about cooking, man. You love coming on here just to brag. You must be trying to put an application out there. So you trying to see if we got some lady listeners says, "Oh, Smitty can cook."
Oh no, put it like this. My daddy called me out years ago, so he learned how to cook because it's cheaper to go out to eat. He said, "You dadgum right." Hey,
smart man.
You know, but here's the thing, right? Stephen A. is a blowhard. Paul Feinbaum's been a blowhard for years, who made a lot of money making Southerners look like idiots. That's why I don't listen to him anyway. Listen to the show. Here's the thing. They keep talking about buy-in and all this. Let me ask you something, because you played. How hard is it for a team to lock back in and buy in after Florida State last year?
How hard is it to lock back in?
It's like for some players, how hard is it for some coaches to get players locked back in after what happened at Florida State last year?
It really depends on the team. I mean, I'll be honest with you. Anytime that we had shortcomings or we felt disrespected or had a performance like normally, like it was pretty much on us. Like we felt every bit of that, right? Like the coaches could definitely try to like put that to our attention, but realistically, that was all the motivation we need. So I'll be honest with you, like for most players, it should be pretty easy to feel fired up after that. But I also have seen examples where it goes the opposite direction, especially like when it's later on in the year and people had like these aspirations of, hey, we're going to play in the college football playoffs, and then they end up losing a game they shouldn't, and then it seems like they're pretty much out of it. Though it's much more likely you're going to lose control of your team at that point. But when it's early on in the year and you still got a lot to play for, typically teams respond pretty well. That's just my experience from kind of being in a situation like that. When we lost to Ole Miss early on in the year, for example.
And one thing you guys put together for some years in this era, guys aren't together like that, you know. And I think like, you know, that's because he was still a relatively new coach as well. He got him locked in. And if he's so incompetent, I would ask Feinbaum and say, Stephen A., if he's so incompetent, how come he's 2-1 versus Kirby? And I remember Feinbaum poo-poo coming back for 17 points down against Oklahoma. It's like a lot of teams will fold being down 17 nothing early on the road. We've seen it last year. We've seen it all the time. I just think they don't like the man. They think he's the second coming of Rich Kotite. For those old school NFL fans, he's probably one of the worst football coaches ever. He was around your dad's time. But the thing is, right, let me tell Stephen A. this. Notre Dame would have made the playoff if they beat one of the only two good teams that played A&M or Miami. Sorry. Hate to break it to you. Beat a good team, you might make the playoff. And Alabama would not been sent home for losing to Georgia in favor of other SEC teams who was watching the game from the house. That would have been a terrible precedent. I just think, like, with the board, they keep saying the right fit. They never say who you're going to hire because folks may not realize the only two realistic hires when Coach Saban retired were Kalen DeBoer and Mike Norvell. Now, tell me which one. And Mike Norvell, I think he is from the South. Which one would you have right now? See how Florida State's looking right now?
Yeah, I definitely would lean Kalen DeBoer on that one. Only one I would throw in there would say, like, if Dan Lanning, which I know it wasn't really going to happen, but I think Dan Lanning is a name that I would consider a guy that is clearly a very successful head coach. I know he's struggling in the postseason, but if you're talking about his blueprint, his DNA, he's technically, a Saban disciple. He was here with us with Coach Saban. Granted, I think he was like just an analyst working with me actually in the outside linebacker room. He used to get on my nerves a lot. I'm not gonna lie to you, but I would say maybe something like that. I know they talked about Sark. I don't know if I saw Sark really. D'Amico would be D'Amico would be fired. Now that's a little bit different. He's becoming from the NFL. I mean, that would be a little bit of an adjustment. Only other one I would mention, I mean, my dream replacement for whoever, I guess, at some point, probably would be Kirby Smart. Just because, to me, I think that's the closest you get to Nick Saban. I mean, he knows Alabama like the back of his hand. He was a very large part of the dynasty here with Coach Saban. You see what he's done at Georgia. Like, if I had like a dream pick, it definitely would probably be Kirby Smart one day. Can you pull him from his alma mater? I don't know. Who knows? I guess we'll have to see. Trying to think. I feel like there's one more I was thinking about. Go ahead.
And Schumann? He played.
Schumann would be, I mean, that once he kind of gets some more experience under his belt. Who was I going to name? There's another one I was going to say. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, that would probably be my dream one. Go ahead.
But see, I get what you're coming from. One, I hate to tell people this. Dan Lanning is not leaving Oregon from Alabama where he has a bottomless pit of money.
I don't blame him.
Real pressure. And no pressure. See, what people don't get is the pressure. And that's probably why a lot of these Saban assistants said no, because they worked here before. So why would it? Plus, here's the other thing people understand. You could be working there. You could be with that man 24/7, but there's still only one Nick Saban. There's only one. And I don't care if you was next to him or had a sandwich with him. There's only one. He ran his program his way. Kirby is never getting fired from Georgia. Mario Cristobal, Saban disciple, physical offensive lineman. He had those pass rushers like Mesidor and Bain all those years, and they still got torched in Cam Ward's year, but they made changes and they got a right coach in there. That wouldn't have flown to Alabama. I just think I didn't want a Saban assistant because folks would be expecting Nick, and that's only one of them.
They're doing that now, though. Well, they still are doing that now, Smitty. I will say that. Listen, this is what I'll say, because I will admit, as a former player that played for Coach Saban, it was an adjustment seeing the differences in the way that the new staff kind of operates and how things are different. I'll be the first one to admit, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. It took me an adjustment period to kind of get over the initial, I guess, newness of like they do it this way versus that way. Even to this day, like, I'm gonna be honest with you, when I see guys wearing hats in a team meeting room and you have a guest speaker, I think that's disrespectful.
Yeah, I got you on that one.
You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, I think that's disrespectful. Like, that kind of bothers me, but it's not my program. And I've just understood now that it is what it is. Like, who am I to tell this guy how to run his culture, his program? I wouldn't allow that. I mean, like, there's other things I wouldn't really let fly, but that's just kind of how he does it. And at the end of the day, he's the head coach and great guy. And I just have learned, like, it's going to look a little bit different. and as it should. I mean, I wouldn't want him to be here trying to do it just like Coach Saban did, and that's not what he does, because that's not authentic, and I don't think that would be very successful. I think he should do what he needs to do to have success, and at the end of the day, we know success, it really negates everything else. If he wins a national championship, no one gives a crap about music played at practice, hats in a team meeting room. No one cares about him wearing a black polo or pullover, whatever he wears on the sideline. That is what it is. So I think Stephen A. and Paul Feinbaum, they just have so much to say right now, because I hate to say it like this, but we've given them, or I should say Coach DeBoer is kind of giving them that ammunition. You get what I'm saying? If you're going to do things differently and it's going to look different, and you already know you're going to have comparisons left and right in every single aspect, the last thing you want to do is give them more ammo, give them more gasoline to throw on the fire. And unfortunately, when you go have a performance like you did in the SEC championship and against a really good Indiana team, I know it happened to Oregon, but again, there's already a target on your back being the man to follow the man. You can only expect it to grow even larger. So I get why they're attacking him, because they're looking for every little thing to go wrong, and for them to have something to criticize. I get it. I don't agree with it. I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's very objective, but it is what it is. I feel like, unfortunately, you had to expect that when you signed up to come here, which to me is going completely against what Stephen A. said. I don't think a guy running from smoke would want to come coach right after Nick Saban. That to me doesn't really make much sense.
It's because he could have stayed at Washington then. Because we know when Washington has the right coach, they're a daggum good program. Because y'all played against a great coach and Chris Peterson in the playoffs that year. I just think, like, a lot of times people, it's like change is hard. And like, I just think if I'm a coach on that team right now, and I put in the chat, I'll put every player in that room, and I said the media and a lot of this fan base think y'all ain't bleep. Because and if you got any pride, you will make them eat crow or extra ranch on it. It's just being real here. Because the way people talk about them, make it like they're like UAB instead of Alabama. And my thing is, if you got any pride here, you will shut these people up, win, lose, or draw. And I think it's like people, let's be real here. They keep saying, oh, this is how they lost. This is Alabama. Folks get mad they lost to the Philadelphia Eagles by a touchdown last year. They would have been mad about that. I've been here. I was mad when they lost by the kick six. They were ready to question Nick Saban until he started talking to Texas. But also, if you want to know how good your coach is, look at who wants to hire him. Michigan and Penn State, who really donate money in NIL, wanting him. USC may come open in a couple of years. His athletic director, who was at Washington, who hired him, she's athletic director at USC. You think they won't be talking to him? They try to hire Courtney Morgan after 1 year. I just think that sometimes the game has changed. The game has changed because we got players now who uncles are getting money and they paying for their parents to fly to games. You know, and I just think that you could be a yeller, a screamer, and I've always said Kalen DeBoer is not a great public speaker. And you could be like what's the guy named Florida, Summerall. It's good to talk tough, but once you start winning, they'll call him. When you start losing, they'll call him a blowhard. Pete Golden won the press conference, but if he starts losing, they'll call him a goofball who ain't serious. It's just how it goes. Because you remember, I don't know if you remember the story for Saban. He said he never drinks when he's out having dinner with his wife. Because he said if someone takes a photo and then he's losing, he has a drinking problem. He drinks too much.
I don't think he drinks at all. I was about to say I think he's completely sober. But yeah, I know what you're saying though. I get the point though, 100%.
Yeah, and that's the thing I think people are missing. This is a fishbowl here. This is like coaching the Yankees or the Lakers, where you're under a constant microscope. And Alabama is because look at Dan Lanning. Everybody talks about him, right? You don't have to apologize for winning a close game in Oregon. In Alabama, you got to apologize for it. Because I remember Saban's last couple of years, they won close games, supposed to criticize the team. They being upset about it. And I just think that we have to understand this guy's a good coach. If he fails, fail doing it your way. If you don't make it, at least make it doing your way. But at the same time, for those who want to run this guy off, the question I always have is, who you going to hire? Because who's leaving their good job as an assistant, as a great head coach, to take on an Alabama job where even how you eat your little Debbie snack cake is compared to Saban. Nick Saban even had to rally the troops to get NIL money, and you don't have the constant pressure. I'm not saying it's a bad job. I think Alabama's a great job, Christian. But there are other great jobs as well, because Kirsten they can go 9-3 the rest of his time, and they'll build him another statue, 2 statues.
Well, I will say,
how I look at it.
Well, I will say, I think the Alabama job will be a little bit more attractive than it might have been immediately after Coach Saban retired. Now that Coach DeBoer has filled those shoes as being the guy to follow Nick Saban. Not saying that it wasn't attractive, but it might have intimidated some folks. I feel like it probably will be a little bit more alluring to some now that somebody has already kind of been in that position. But I also will add, in terms of NIL, if you want to attract top coaches in this day and age, we've got to have a backing when it comes to NIL that can match some of these other top programs, or else, I hate to say it, but it's going to be harder to get some of the top coaches to want to come be a part of your staff or to coach here, because at the end of the day, that's what it's about. Lane Kiffin went to LSU for that reason. You see Oregon, right? Dan Lanning is not going to want to go anywhere when he's got blank checks. Indiana, they just secured Kurt Signetti on a long-term deal. I'm sure he wants to, establish his legacy there. But realistically, he probably also was guaranteed that he was going to get a backing. And so he don't have to worry about that part. So I think that's something you definitely have to make sure you're taking care of when it comes to, I guess, whoever is going to be coaching this football team. You got to be able to prove that you can give them the support necessary, because coaches know a lot is riding on that. And in this microwave society, if you're not able to go out there and produce within, even just 2 years, which is kind of crazy to think about, they will be on to the next quicker than you sign that contract to get at that destination. So, Smitty, we got to hit this time out, but always good talking to you, brother. I hope you have a great weekend, man.
Hey, you have a good weekend. Thanks for taking my call. And if you have money to pay K and the boys buyout, you have money to pay for some players. Have a good weekend.
You too, bro. All right, we got to hit a timeout when we come back. We got a quick one, then the top hour break, and then we keep on rolling on this free-for-all Friday edition of the Miller's Edge. 205-342-9904 is the number. Love to get you guys in on the conversation right here. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. With the chat here. Yeah, Alabama has an app now. Yeah, you know what? I forgot to announce this to you guys, man. I officially signed up for Yay Alabama. Here's the thing, though. I did it because I guess they can go ahead and thank Andrew Bone. When I saw Andrew Bone had made his way over to Yay Alabama, I know he does a good job when it comes to writing articles and putting out content. I had checked it out before, and just the content just didn't really, I hate to say it like this, but I didn't feel like it was really necessary to sign up for it. And I know people are like, well, why don't you sign up to support the guys? I've already told you my stance on this, man. Them dudes make more money than I make right now. I did what they did for free. I'm not just writing checks to them, respectfully. I'm just not doing that. But if you give me a reason to sign up, like some good content that we can use here on the show, I'll do it. So I saw you can sign up for like $5, I think, a month. If you guys got $5 extra a month, I definitely recommend you guys doing that. I know people think, well, what's $5 going to do? I'm sure it goes a long way once you talk about the strength in numbers approach. But the content is definitely good. They've put out a number of good articles, especially since SEC Media Day. So I've been pleased with it. So that's my initial review on Yay Alabama. So yes, I did see that they just put out an app, which is always nice, very easy to work, and I'm glad that they're improving things. I know there's a lot of people had a lot of complaints about it. Mario says it's going to be hard to get a good coach if KD doesn't work out. People forget that coaches have families, wives, and kids. Ain't going to want to deal with all that in their everyday life. I mean, from what they've taught about, I think they really enjoy Alabama. I don't think I'm sure they hear the noise and the criticism, but you're going to, if you're at any major program and things aren't going great, right? You're going to hear noise. That's just kind of part of it. So Oregon and Nike stock has taken a beating. Yeah, I own Nike stock, man. It has taken a beating for sure. Nike's kind of they're in a tough spot competing with athleisure brands like Aloe and Lululemon, who also is kind of taking a beating. But some of those newer, more popular, trendy athleisure brands have really really threatened Nike. But best believe Oregon still's got plenty of money regardless. Ramon says, don't listen to the outside noise, just focus on football. Trevor says it's not close. It's not close game win Saturday's issues. It could be an issue, but it's the high floor, low ceiling, and inconsistency. We will get to that because I've seen multiple people mention that now. That what's throwing them off right now with Alabama is that typically it's always you're very consistent, like, hey, we're expecting Alabama to be a 10, 11 win team. It is what it is. You expect them to be a high-level team pretty much every year, the consistency there. But then now it's like this Alabama team looks like it could maybe lose 5 games, but also could maybe win 11. It's just such a drop, not a drop off, but it's such a large, I guess, gap in terms of expectations that it kind of throws people off. And welcome back into this free-for-all Friday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. All right, let's keep the conversation going. We've been addressing the disrespect that we've been hearing coming out of SEC Media Days, which is now officially concluded. But we've got plenty of content from it. So even though that's over, we're still talking about it, breaking stuff down, and we are quickly approaching fall camp, which is less than 2 weeks away. So we'll slowly transition from all the content and quotes and clips from SEC Media Days into fall camp, which will be kicking off very soon. And that's when football is officially back. We kind of feel like, to me, this is like the preseason, Jackson. It's like it's kind of back. Fall camp is like, hey, we're in live bullets, man. Football really is back when guys start getting out there practicing and preparing for that first game. Let's keep rolling on the phone lines, 205-342-9904. We got our guy Mike from New York up next. Mike, welcome in.
Hey, buddy, what's going on?
Man, I can't complain. Mike, how's everything?
Everything's going good. Hey, with the whole disrespect, I think it comes from like a lot of like different eras. I mean, I guess it's kind of deserved if you're a fan base of another team, eventually you would have had to go through Alabama in your era, to get to where your team wanted to go. And there was probably a 95% chance it wasn't going to go your way. So now they finally get all that chance to give it back to us when we're kind of back to the pack a little bit. But, I guess being back to the pack isn't where a lot of people want to be, depending on, how long you've been a fan. But, again, I remember when Bryant retired, it was okay for like a year or two under Ray Perkins, and then it went off the tracks quick. I mean, there were first or second week of October before we even played Tennessee. I mean, we weren't going to a major bowl. We weren't talked about for a title. It was frustrating. So I am glad that the university is keeping up with everything and keeping the standards as best they can, and that we're still mentioned as one of the top programs in the country, and that we still have a chance at the end of every year. I mean, even this first year, so, I mean, I guess I'm kind of happy with that. I'd love to see us win the title every year. I don't know if that's feasible anymore, the way college football is set up. I mean, if Saban was in his prime in coaching right now, do you think he could have that same type of success right now with the way the football's set up?
That's a really good question, because I saw somebody mention something like that in the last couple of days, and I wanted to kind of discuss that. I don't think it would look exactly the same, right? I think we all can agree that with the displacement of top recruits now kind of being all over the place, teams are created a lot more equal. I'm not saying that we just had this stacked roster and that was the only reason we won. I hate when people overdo things, right? Because I think that's what happens. Like, yes, two things can be true. We had very good talent. We had a 3 deep that consisted of 5 stars, 4 stars, top players. I mean, dudes that were going to be Sunday NFL football players. But we still were playing other teams like in the postseason that were teams built similarly. Clemson had a whole boatload of talent. Georgia had a boatload of talent. LSU, who they didn't necessarily have the same success as us, but you can't tell me they didn't have nearly as much talent as we did. Right? Auburn had a lot of good talent. So that wasn't the only thing, but it definitely helped that we were able to pretty much stack so much talent. But to answer your question, I don't think he could have gone on the same run that he went on before this whole NIL thing, which, mind you, people make it seem like Coach Saban was never part of NIL. I mean, he spent like 2, maybe 3 years, I think, being a part of it, and he was doing fine. Granted, it wasn't the same dominance, but he was going to be up there. And back to the other point that you made, Mike, to me, I think in this day and age, being a playoff contender each and every year, if you're at a top program, that should be the standard, right? Of course, winning national championships is going to be our standard. We know that. Doing it on a year-to-year basis is not realistic, but as long as you're every year making the playoffs and giving your team a chance to go contend for one, I think that's a very positive sign, and that's very respectable in this day and age. But no, I don't think Coach Saban would have gone on like the run he went on, but I definitely think he would have been in the playoffs every single year, and I definitely think he still would win some national championships. I just don't know if he would end up winning like 7.
Sure, yeah, I agree. Yeah. I think a lot of the fuss is coming from people just trying to get clicks and just again being frustrated from all those years that they had to go through here to win a title, and just it just wasn't going to happen. But that's that 5% fan base we talked about. That's just they're not happy no matter what happens. The team wins and they're already thinking about next week. They lose and they're scorching the earth on social media. So it's crazy. Circling into LeBron. It's kind of interesting him going, because that 5% fan base that I talk about that acts like that, when you get to Philly and New York and Boston, it's more like 20%.
Yeah.
So, I mean, those people out there are thinking they're getting 22-year-old LeBron that's going to be dropping 40 a night and, carrying the team. And I mean, he's a good dude. It's tough to be 18 years old and have somebody start calling you the face of the league. And I mean, you can say what you want about his ego, his attitude, everything like that. But I mean, I can't name too many kids at that age, maybe Tiger Woods, that kind of handled that stuff as he did, and didn't get in a lot of trouble off the field. Didn't hear a lot of, BS or anything like that. He just, just went out and played, did his thing. So, I mean, hats off for that. I mean, a lot of us get that type of money and accolades at 18 years old. I don't know how he handled it, but I mean, did a fantastic job. Must have a good supporting cast around him. But it's going to be tough, man, in Philly, if things start going off the rail a little bit, because LA's got a couple of tough Laker fans, but I mean, whether they're winning or losing, that place starts emptying out in the third quarter. Miami, Cleveland. I mean, Philly's a way different place, man. It's a way different place to play. I mean, that's a big sports town. There's not a whole lot to do outside of Philly but sports.
Yeah, I don't have too much experience being up in Philly. I don't even know if I'm sure I've been there maybe once, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, with the guys around him, I think it's going to be something to look forward to watching this season. And a lot of people feel that in terms of their starting 5, they might not have the depth, but in terms of their key players, he's joining probably the best group possible. And it feels that it could be maybe the best situation for him to go win one more before he really hangs up. Well, definitely not the cleats, but the sneakers. Right. So we'll have to see. But I'm looking forward to it, man. I think it definitely kind of surprised a lot of folks. And I think it's going to be a interesting thing. And LeBaron Philon is going to be playing there, so we can support LeBron if you're like me, you're a LeBron fan, and Bama alumni at the same time. So I'll take it as a win.
There you go. But yeah, I mean, if you want a retrospect of what Philly fans are like, there's a YouTube video of them where they were like booing and throwing snowballs at Santa Claus at an Eagles game when the guy was trying to come off the field because he said something about the starting quarterback for the Eagles at halftime doing some charity event. Some guy dressed up like Santa, and the quarterback for the Eagles just had a horrible first half. And I mean, these people are like pelting them with snowballs and stuff. I mean, it's a different world there, man. It's a different world. I wish him luck. I hope he gets what he's looking for there, man. So, but it's a rough place. It's going to be a rough place.
If anybody can handle it, I feel like he'll be fine. Now, some other guys, they're a little fragile. I feel like he'll be good. I feel like he's always had a target on his back, being the face of the league, even at a young age, like you mentioned. And it's like, hey, when he'd make it to however many finals in a row, but then not win them, and people act like he's the worst player in the world. So he's felt that scrutiny and all that before. I think he'll be able to survive it, but it's definitely going to be a little tough. We all know that. Mike, always good hearing from you, man. Hope all is well. That smoke clear up in New York for you guys?
Yeah, it's all out of here. Those doggone Canadians up there. I think I don't know. Maybe when Pavia goes up there and plays in Canada, he'll fix it.
I saw that, man. Yeah, he got waived by Baltimore right before training camp.
Yeah,
Very interesting.
kind of a weird time of year to do that. You don't really, unless somebody gets hurt, you don't really. I don't know. You'd know better than that, but I don't remember guys getting waived like first week of training camp. But,
yeah, I don't know. We'll see if somebody picks him up. I mean, the guy can play football. We all know that. I mean, he proved it against us, but not your prototypical NFL quarterback. So, I mean, maybe there's concerns there, but I would at least want to see the guy in preseason. Let the guy have a preseason, put some tape out there, see what he can do, and then make that decision. So,
you can't see over his center.
Well, that, I mean, could be an issue, but Bryce Young isn't very tall. Kyler Murray is not very tall. I mean, we're seeing shorter quarterbacks nowadays, but listen, I mean, he's got a skill set that, again, not your typical skill set for the NFL, but the guy can play, right? And I think you just give him an opportunity. Now, in terms of off the field and just kind of his theatrics and stuff, that's probably not going to go well. If you're a dude, right, like if you're the guy, they'll let stuff slide. But if you're kind of like a fringe roster guy, fringe practice squad guy, brother, you might just need to close your mouth and just put your head down and work, man. League is weird like that, man. I mean, you guys can see it. Shedeur Sanders, they're not a big fan of people like that. They aren't. But it is what it is. We'll see. Mike, we appreciate you calling, man. Hope you have a great weekend.
Have a great weekend. See you guys.
You too, man. Yeah, you too, brother. Thank you. Always good to hear from you. Hey, Jackson, I was thinking about this, man. We'll listen to this Paul Feinbaum clip, but there's one thing that I wanted to point out because we're talking so much about people kind of piling up on Alabama. And I thought maybe there's a different perspective Alabama fans can maybe take when it comes to this. I'm going to play this Paul Feinbaum clip. He's going to give his thoughts on Kalen DeBoer's, I guess, podium talk and kind of why he had issues with it. And then I'll give you guys that fresh perspective, and maybe it helps Alabama fans out a little bit.
I know DeBoer doesn't have, I mean, unlike a lot of coaches, doesn't have this massive ego. But when he's asked a question whether or not a national championship will define him, I thought the answer was, look, he can answer it how he wants. I thought it was the wrong answer. How did you feel about the way DeBoer answered that question?
It was a terrible answer. I mean, first of all, I don't need Kalen DeBoer in front of a big room on national television telling us for the 41,000th time, I knew what I was signing up for. Of course you did. You're at Alabama, man. I want him to, he doesn't have to sound like Pete Golding. He doesn't have to slam the table. He doesn't have to do anything crazy, but he does need to say, we're going to win a national championship. Why can't he say that? Maybe because he doesn't believe it. And every time, somebody said to me today, well, I've heard you say all this stuff and it doesn't matter what he says. All fans care about is what he does on the field. Well, this is a different era. You need people to use the PJ Fleck line, rowing the boat the same way, because those are your donors. It's like running for office. You need to keep people motivated, and DeBoer doesn't do that. And I heard another excuse today. Well, give him a break. He lost the number one draft choice, a quarterback, and he's got two guys that are untested. Whose fault is that? Lane Kiffin went out and got a quarterback. So did other schools. Kalen DeBoer obviously feels like he has the right one, and if he's right, then good for him. But if he's wrong, watch out.
All right, so there's a few things I want to break down from that. And believe it or not, I actually agree with some of what he was saying towards the end, and I'll explain what I mean by that. But first, addressing the answer, just to circle back, because we're talking so much about people complaining about his answer. Here is his answer to the question when they asked him about his legacy being defined by winning a national championship. This is the answer that I guess that's kind of ruffled some feathers from some of the analysts in the national media.
Will be defined by whether you win a national championship.
I certainly know that that's an important part of what's happened in the program. So I wouldn't doubt that if that's the case. I'm not focused on that. I'm focused on just helping our program be the best and trying to bring out the best and raise the level of everyone around me, from coaching staff to our players, trying to maximize what we're capable every single day.
All right. So going back to my original point when Stephen A was jumping on it, if you really listen to what he said, number one, actually, before we get to his answer, the question was directed to him based off of, does he believe that his legacy will be defined by winning a national championship? They didn't ask, what are your expectations while you're the head coach? And that's kind of the way people are, I guess, viewing his answer, as if the question was along those lines. It was a question directly directed to him in terms of himself. So I think it's clear that he interpreted it as a question about him, and he wanted to deflect from him because he didn't want to come off selfish and say, basically, hey, I know a national championship is going to define my legacy, and that's why I want to win. I'm almost positive that's where he was coming from, which to me makes perfect sense. You don't want to sound
100%.
like, you don't want to sound like, hey, I came here because I'm worried about my legacy as a head football coach, so I want to win a national championship because I care about what people think about me and the job I did.
And he's 2 years in. Why do we need to talk about his legacy?
Yeah, I mean, they're making it seem like it's his tenure's not going to be here very long, but definitely that's how I interpret it. I think people are misinterpreting his answer. Number one. Number two, the other part that Feinbaum started to go into, I will say, I do agree with the direction he was going. Right, when people are making comments, I guess, where they say like, well, he doesn't have this guy or he doesn't have that guy. And Paul Feinbaum's response, I'll be honest, I agree with that, because I've even made the comment, like when people say, well, he doesn't have the offensive line. The transfer portal is open. Now, I understand not all wallets are created equal, but that's on the staff, on the administration. That's what these people get paid so much money for. Find ways to generate more money, or find ways to get the guys you feel like you need. And because I'll admit, like, I'm in agreement that 27 definitely feels like it's a little bit more of the year where you feel confident in the group of players, even if that's just on paper. There's going to be more experience across the offensive line. I think all these guys can come back, so they'll have much more experience under their belt, way less question marks there. Quarterback, both those guys can return, so you'll have a returning starter at quarterback, which is the key position. Wide receiver room, you're losing Ryan Coleman-Williams. Outside of that, everybody else, and I say that, he could potentially return. I think the writing's on the wall. Guy's probably going pro. You're returning pretty much, and then all the young running backs who are supposed to be the answers, you're going to return probably 85% of your production at least on offense. At least, I would imagine. Defense, pretty much going to lose all those guys in the secondary except for Dijon Lee. But the good news is you got some young players, especially at safety, some young cornerbacks that showed some promise during the spring that can be good players as well. So you'll be replacing some guys, but you got some good young depth. And the linebackers all can come back. D-line, I think only maybe one. That's probably what, Tompkins, I think. It may be a Bingley Jones. You can return pretty much all that depth. So what I'm getting at is I do feel like 27 you're set up nicely, but I agree. We had Josh Pate on our show last week, that at Alabama, you can't really have those kind of, like, yes, there's going to be years where you know you have a little bit younger of a roster, but with expectations here, you can't really afford that. So I do agree with Paul Feinbaum to the point where I'm not really like with the excuses right now of like, well, he doesn't have this, that. He is going on year 3, and that, like, as a coach, you have to say, and that was one of my criticisms on our portal approach, was that I just felt, knowing how young we were, we could have been a little bit more aggressive. And I think majority of people would agree with me, right? I know some Alabama fans don't want to hear that. They're going to say, oh, our portal players are so good. I get it from the emotional side as a fan, but I watched tape. I'm just telling you, we could have done even more. Not saying the guys we got weren't good. I think we got some good players out of the portal, some underrated guys. But we could have done even more to feel better going into the year. That's just a fact. Ask Josh Pate, ask Cole Kublik, ask anybody that knows the game of football. It's not a knock. It's just the truth.
And I agree with that, because if we were willing to fork out money to get Hollywood Smothers and Cam Coleman, then you could have forked out that money to get more offensive linemen, or even higher caliber offensive linemen as well. So I do agree with that.
Yeah, and that's all the point I've always tried to make. I know some people got offended when I made some of those comments in the past, but it's like, those are just facts, and I get it. The next thing is, well, we don't have the same money other people do. But like you just said, if you found a way to raise $2+ million for Cam Coleman, we could have upped some of that money on some of these offensive linemen if we really wanted to. Maybe you didn't feel like it was worth it. I'm just saying that's just one of my critiques. And I would agree a little bit with Paul Feinbaum on that part. But other than that, I think people are reading way too much into his answer. Is there a target on his back? I don't think it's him. It's just at Alabama, we all know the expectations. But I mentioned perspective, Jackson, and this is what I will say. Right, I'm going to flip the script a little bit here. You might want to be thankful that people are still talking like this about Alabama. And here's why. Because while it might be annoying, it might be frustrating, and you're probably sick of people piling up on your team, your head coach, and you want to just them to just be quiet. Be careful what you wish for, because the day that they stop piling and taking shots at Alabama, and it's not because we're just winning, right? If they're quiet because we're winning, that's one thing. But if we're not playing great and they're quiet, that means we've really fell off the cliff. The fact that they're still speaking highly about and holding Alabama in that regard means there's still a very high level of respect for this program. The day that noise really dies off, and it's not because we're just winning championships left and right, that is when you really want to get concerned. So the perspective I'm challenging you to have is say, it might be annoying that you hear these folks talk crazy like this, but at least they're talking. They always say, if they're not talking, you're not doing something, right? You know what I'm saying? If they're talking, that means you're doing something right. So that means people still hold Alabama in a very high regard. Because I'm telling you right now, the moment you stop hearing Stephen A. and Paul Feinbaum take shots at Alabama, it's just like Mississippi State, no shade. Florida, no shade. People are just kind of like, yeah, 7-5. Next. That's going to hurt.
That's a great perspective shift. I agree.
Yeah, that's going to hurt.
It will hurt. And the Alabama fans will be like, we're still Alabama. We're still here. Why aren't you talking about us? Well, they were
talk crap about us, please. No. Paul Feinbaum, no, we want you to talk crap.
Yeah, we can take it now.
I don't see that happening, because Alabama's really built that foundation. I think it's going to be a while if you ever risk getting to that point. But kind of like Mike said, I haven't been a fan this long, but Alabama's had years where it kind of did get to that point. So you just don't want to be there, and I don't think you get there.
No, and it also lets you know that people also see Alabama as a program that can do that regardless of the head coach, which is a good thing. And that's the way people view LSU. So
true. That's a good point. No, that's definitely a good point. Let's do this. Let's hit a timeout, Jackson, so we can stay on schedule when we come back. It looks like Pastor Payne jumped on here. Sounds like we might get us another Stephen A. Paul Feinbaum type quote, knowing how he is, and he's eating. Sometimes when he's getting that food in his system, it riles him up, and he's even off the leash even more. So we'll see what the Pastor Payne has to say regarding SEC Media Day when we come back right here on this Friday. This is the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. All right, let's bring him on here. Not that one.
The worst food. This place is terrible.
What?
Pandera something.
Panda Express?
Yeah.
They got it's. I mean, it depends on what you were expecting. If you were expecting real deal cheap Chinese, like the real authentic kind of vibe, not like authentic, but you get the point. Hole in the wall Chinese, that's not what they are. They're a chain, man. So it's going to feel a little bit more, microwaved type food, man. Not to be negative, but I'm not sold on Del Gotti. That's not being negative. That's not being negative at all. Listen, I wouldn't say. Here's what I would say. It's way too early to determine kind of who he's going to be in terms of filling in at center for Parker Brailsford. But that's kind of my point that I was making when we were back in the portal season, that, I like this tape. He's a scrappy player. I think he can move well in space, which is a great fit for what we're doing. He's coming from a smaller, level of football. So that's going to be a transition in itself. Can he end up executing and being a solid piece on the offensive line? I think he can. But what is his ceiling though, right? Because you're replacing a center who, if you talk to any offensive lineman that breaks down tape, they'll tell you Parker Brailsford is one of the better centers in the country. I know he was a 5th round draft pick, but the guy's going to be competing to start for Cleveland. That might not sound impressive, but starting as a rookie in the National Football League, I mean, that's a big deal. This guy's a good football player. So the way I look at it was we were historically bad last year and had pretty good talent. The guys we brought in or the guys we're expecting to replace an offensive line, some of the ceilings might be better. They might fit a little bit better in terms of what we want to do. Occasionally, that's not everything, right? When you run gap scheme runs and stuff like that, that has nothing to do with this whole footwork thing. It's more of when we're talking about pin and pull perimeter runs, which we do like to run. I think there can be some improvements there. Anyway, that said, we're historically bad with good talent. A first rounder at left tackle, good center, a freshman All-American. It's if I'm just being honest, I don't think anybody can sit here and say that the talent we have on offensive line is that much better than what we had last year. If anything, you might argue that it's not as good it's not as talented of a group. They might have more potential in certain aspects, but you just have to wait and see. But the good news is that doesn't always define the success, right? Yes, the Jimmies and Joes are important, but I've seen groups that because of effort, because of execution, they perform a whole hell of a lot better than having a group of a bunch of very talented guys that just aren't playing well together, especially when you talk about offensive line. So I get your point. I think it's still early to say, but he had a good spring, though. I mean, he had a pretty good spring. I will say he definitely looked pretty good this spring. I feel like he's still probably in that transition period, right? Going against these guys during fall camp will be good, getting them ready for this year. And I think he'll be fine. I'm not too much worried about him, really. I would say more so right tackle, I have some concerns. Left guard, I mean, I know we're expecting Will Sanders. I think I don't remember what his injury was. Hopefully he's fully healthy. I think he's a good player, but do I think he's like levels ahead of kind of what we've had? I don't really think so. But I think he can be a little bit better than guys like Dewberry and Vandermark. I just don't know like how much better. We'll have to see. Check out Nick Saban on Pat McAfee yesterday. Covered LSU, Ole Miss, Georgia, Texas, and Alabama. Yeah, I'll check that out. I appreciate that, Chelsea. I think with young offensive line, we're going to need Keelan, a true dual threat, someone who can scramble and move in the pocket. No offense to Mac, but if we got a good line and good running game, we'll be all right. I made that point yesterday when we were talking about the quarterback battle. To me, it's kind of like a catch-22, right? With Keelan Russell, that dual threat ability, like you just said, when you're having a little bit of a inconsistent offensive line or a line that you're not too sure about, while you would be nervous playing the younger quarterback because you want somebody back there that probably has a little bit more of a handle on things, he might be the better option because of that escapability. And when things do go south, his ability to create. And then also throwing in the fact that if you do want to run some quarterback design runs, he's a much better fit to do that. I had mentioned that over the past week or so. So I agree 100%, Coley. Really good point there. Brockermeyer may be the Falcons starting center, had depth there previously. Yeah, and Brockermeyer, he wasn't a very big guy either. He ended up being a good player for Miami. But I think that just goes to show you, man, coaching and development is so important. Brockermeyer, when he was here, he showed some promise, but I wouldn't have expected him to be what he ended up being at Miami and the player he's growing into now. I think that's a lot of credit to Cristobal and Mario Ball and Luigi Ball and all these Super Mario Balls that they got coaching over at Miami. Mario Ball, what was his name? You got Mario Cristobal, and the offensive line coach is like Mario Ball or something. I think they played high school together. Anyway, they do a hell of a job with offensive linemen. You got a feel on Xavier Griffin. Does he have a package this year? I think he has some quick twitch ability that not many other guys in that outside linebacker room have, and I think he definitely could contribute in rush situations without a doubt. I think you could put him in there to be a spy, to run games from that stand-up position. He can mug, right? You can run some text games, things like that with him as a stand-up guy. You can rush him off the edge. I think you definitely try to find a way to get him involved in some capacity. I definitely think so. And welcome back into this free-for-all Friday edition of Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. We're talking Alabama. We're talking some disrespect from Stephen A., Paul Feinbaum. It almost seems like the list goes on. Will it continue? We are joined by the Pastor Payne, who is he likes to speak his mind, and he hasn't been on here in a while, so I don't know what's about to come from this. All right, let's go ahead and bring him on board. Pastor Payne, welcome in.
Greetings and salutations, everybody. Happy Friday. Hope you're doing well.
All is well, man.
Good,
You crushed that Chinese
it's called
Panda.
It's called hungry.
What'd you get? What was your order?
I just got the teriyaki chicken with a little bit of orange chicken.
Yeah, and you didn't like that? I feel that's what I go to.
No,
I get
man,
teriyaki orange.
I feel like I just wasted a hunger. I really did. I feel like I just wasted.
My.
I could have got something so much more appetizing, and but it is what it is. They did what it's supposed to do. I was almost getting a little shaky there, so I've been doing my intermittent fasting, so I felt like I needed to eat, so I had to put the food in me here about 18, 19 hours since the last meal. So it served its purpose, but I'll be getting something a little later on. That's for sure.
Well, I grilled some teriyaki chicken last night.
Oh, that sounds
maybe.
good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Maybe that would have did you a little bit better. But I mean, they have a good teriyaki chicken. I like theirs.
No, the teriyaki chicken is good. I mean,
yeah,
the fried rice is not really fried. That's terrible.
Well,
and the orange chicken was terrible.
But that's like a chain Chinese. That's not like real hole in the wall Chinese. That's like fast food Chinese where they got a bunch of Americans working there. You got to go to like you know what I'm talking about, where the chicken wings have like yellow in them. That's how you know you got real.
You want cut wing? You want cut wing? You want cut wing?
Okay.
You want cut wing and rice? That's what I did.
Okay. Let's be careful on the accents, man. Anyway, all right. So SEC Media Days concluded yesterday. I don't know if you got to watch or hear any of it. I know you can't stand talking season. You could not care less about really what these coaches have to say. But I mean, you had to have seen something, right? You don't even have to be Alabama.
No. I've seen bits and pieces. I saw what I wanted to see. Certain coaches I wanted to see. I wanted to see Lane Kiffin from yesterday, hear what he had to say, because I wanted to see what the Bayou Bengals was going to be all about in his thoughts. I wanted to see Alabama and Kalen DeBoer, of course, South Carolina a couple of days beforehand. There was teams I wanted to see, but still, I don't really get caught up to what they're saying. I covered this, being a sports director and in radio for a lot of years, and I understand what it's all about. The SEC Media Days becomes about people down there. You get all these credentialed folks. Everybody's trying to get a job. Now you got every podcast in America. They get credentials. They shouldn't even have credentials. They're not real media people.
Well, what did you think about Media Day? I mean, the coaches, man. Oh, it is. It's a show. But
anyway, but it's a show for now for coaches too. But anyway, let's talk about what everybody's talking about, and I know it's going to happen. Kalen DeBoer is not going to win, as they used to say in the media, where he won the press conference. He's never going to win a press conference. He's just not that kind of dude, But I'm with Stephen A. and Paul Feinbaum. You got to find whoever his sports information director is needs to help him. Like, he needs to understand how to answer said questions. I'm saying you are Alabama. Alabama still have cachet, and what he says is going to carry weight, right? And when you talk, Alabama is looked upon to some as a championship organization or franchise, whatever term you want to use there, based on Nick Saban. That's why Stephen A. was like, well, Nick Saban would have never answered that question like that, and he's correct. Now, that being said, do I think Kalen DeBoer is not championship minded? They don't think. Yes, of course they do. He just don't want to. I think he's very nervous about being so forefront about, that's what we're going to do. We're going to kick butts and take names, and we're Alabama. We about. He ain't gonna go at that like that. He gonna go at it with a very soft spoken way, and we're trying to change the culture, and it's almost too soft. So I understand what they're saying, but here's the reality. Here's the POP points. One, Alabama have become pretty much irrelevant. I don't care what people, how they responded to Kalen DeBoer. Alabama don't have the same cachet from a national perspective anymore. They have it
That's
with
not true.
they have it with their fan base. They're not picked to win the conference. Nobody even picking them. I look at the whole thing. Nobody even think Alabama's going to be close to winning the SEC.
They're
And
outside of the top 5 on most preseason polls, but
right.
but let me wait.
That normally never ever happened. That's what I'm saying.
I'm with you on that part, but hold on, backtrack. Let me stop before you get too far along. For you to say not relevant though, that's not true. That's bad wording on your part, because here's the thing: if they weren't, why is it grabbing headlines every time he says something or every time Alabama? That I think your wording is wrong. If you're saying from like what they do on the field perspective, it has definitely changed. Like there's no doubt about that. Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. That's why I wanted to correct, because when you say like that, it sounds like what me and Jackson were talking about. That's not the case, because clearly, if people are broadcasting and nitpicking every little detail when it comes to Alabama, they clearly are. And I think what happens
they're talking about you don't mean you're relevant.
That's like the definition of relevancy.
No, here's what my point.
I mean, relevancy is kind of like
Alabama is still relevant because of Nick Saban. Period. Nick Saban still carries Alabama weight, and he works for the ESPN. And so, yeah, people look at that program and because Caleb Boyd is the first coach to come behind Nick Saban, therefore people are talking about it. But when you look at it, when it comes to playing the game, when it comes to being one of the best teams in America, when it comes to being one of the best team in the Southeastern Conference, Alabama is irrelevant today. Nobody's worried about Alabama no more. Nobody's scared of Alabama no more. And that to me becomes a shame, because I want Alabama to be that. And Alabama needs to be that for the SEC to try to pick back up that mantra from the Big Ten. But nobody looks at Alabama and be like, we know Alabama going. They got 5 stars rolling, rocking in everywhere, this, that, and the third. Yeah, but they haven't worked the portal right. They haven't replaced right. That's why most people that win championships, they go to the portal and they get a guy. You can't win a championship without a guy. You're not going to win a championship with 2 dudes that haven't really played that much. It is not going to happen in today's world of college football. You got to go find somebody. Lane Kiffin went and got somebody. The teams that want to win, they go get somebody. Miami always, every year they go get somebody. They're not dependent on the freshmen. If you want to stay at my school and get better and learn and grow, well, when you're ready, then we feel like you're ready, we'll put you in there. But until then, we're going to pay for a quarterback, because you got to have a quarterback to win championships. They didn't do that. They didn't go get
tackles. They didn't need to, though.
Yes, they did.
No, they didn't. Well, let me ask you a question. Why you just paid all that money? Now, again, I'm not pocket watching, but according to On3, I mean, it's public knowledge. They got a verified check mark to $2.1 million or whatever Alabama's paying Keelan Russell, who was the top quarterback in the country coming out of high school. He's only going on his second year. The guy can play football. Will he be ready to start the season this year? We don't know. And I get what you're saying. Historically, the teams that are winning national championships, they've got experience at quarterback. I get what you're saying. But you're saying go to the portal and go pay for a quarterback.
Right.
When you also have a guy like Austin Mack that you retain, is it more of a, homegrown approach, and you're just kind of banking that your younger, inexperienced quarterbacks, who both are very talented, but you expect them to be good football players? Is it a little bit more potentially, I guess, I don't think risky, but is it a slight more of a kind of going against the norm of having an experienced guy, kind of like what Miami did to go get who they got? I mean, Julian Sam was only a true freshman when Ohio State got him. Remember, he transferred after being here briefly. He ends up winning that job at Ohio State. So, I mean, it's not like, they got him young, and then he ended up, developing there.
Hold on, but here's my rebuttal for what you're saying. Ohio State has so much more around him. That's the problem. Ohio State had pieces. They got big-time receivers. They got an offensive line. They had great running back. They had a great defense. So they can get away with bringing and trying a Julian Sands and say, okay,
I agree.
Because I put everything else around him. This is my point with Alabama. They didn't. So you're going to have a young quarterback, right? And then you're going to have all these other question marks surrounding your program. It's not going to happen, folks. You can wish on a star all you want to.
Let me rebuttal.
It's not going to happen.
But let me offer you this, though. This would be my pushback to that. These portal quarterbacks, the going rate for these top ones, because you're saying you need a dude. Respectfully, there's not hardly any of those quarterbacks from the portal that Mensa, he got $6.5 million. That is verified on On3. $6.5 million, right? Sorsby, he had got $5 million from Texas Tech. The guy's not even playing football this season at any level because he had a gambling problem and got caught up with that whole thing. Levitt at LSU, really good player. Battling injury, was paid like $5 million. So my question to you is, outside of those guys, who else are you going to try to target in the portal? And then even if you did target those guys, you're telling me you would have paid $5 million for a gambling addict, a guy with a Liz Frank injury, or $6.5 million when you just admitted that Alabama doesn't really have all the experience or the confidence in the pieces around the quarterback position. What would you and everybody else have said if they paid $5 million for a quarterback out of the portal, knowing they already had some young quarterbacks that can be some good players, but also knowing that they still haven't invested in their offensive line? You know the game of football. You would have crucified them if they paid $5 million for a quarterback but did not address their offensive line better. If you want to argue that, hey, they should have taken $5 million and tried to just bolster that offensive line with dudes that are proven and then have a little bit less experience at quarterback, I can understand. Because I'll be honest with you, I think if it was me, that's what I would have took as much portal money as we possibly had, and I would have made sure our offensive line was one of the best units. No ifs, ands, or buts. We were historically bad running the football. We've got a young quarterback. To me, we should have made every means possible to go out there and have an offensive line that you could confidently go into the season saying, we know we're going to run the football better. We know we'll be able to protect the quarterback that's a young quarterback, and then see how it plays out. If you want to argue that point, I'm with you. But I can't agree. That to me, that makes no sense.
Find a guy, you find a lineman, and you find a quarterback. You can do both,
bro. There's budgets, bro. There's budgets.
Well, then your budget.
How are you gonna pay $5 million for a quarterback? Seaton was what? However million he was.
Listen, all I'm saying is this: then do one or the other. You're gonna have to put the money somewhere, right? If I'm gonna go with
they did.
Banks,
they put it in high school recruiting,
which is the wrong way to do now.
I think they probably should have balanced it a little bit better. If they would have told me that, hey, we're going to have 2 top 5 classes or whatever, but that means the third class and then the portal class, we're going to have to be more conservative. And this third class, we're really going to be super conservative. I would have said, no, it needs to be balanced better. So I agree. They probably went too heavy on the front end, because I don't think you should have, like Josh Pay was saying, at Alabama, you can't really afford to have like a little bit of a not down year, but a year where you're like, all right, well, we're kind of holding back a little bit because this is a little bit of a dip year while we recover our budget or whatever the case may be.
Listen,
I mean,
they are Kalen and the board don't know how to handle transfer portal or college free agency. That's very apparent. Because championships are going to be won by teams like what we saw with Indiana last year, like what we seen with Ohio State 2 years ago.
But none of those guys were like big, expensive.
What we've seen with Michigan, they brought in the right players. They brought in need players, right? They just didn't go crazy bringing them. If I'm gonna limit who I bring in, then I'm gonna make sure that I'm spending money in absolute need positions. Tackle, edge, pass rusher, or quarterback, or whatever that said position is. All I'm saying to you is this: Alabama didn't do that, and Alabama's taking a back seat, and therefore, because college football is not going to be the same. It's going to be the teams that handle, their roster and manage their roster, whether it be how many freshmen I'm going to bring in, or I'm going to put more money into the portal and I got a good solid team. I got a good roster, but I have needs. And that's what NFL rosters people do. They look around and say, we're good, but we need 4 or 5 dudes to make the difference. Kind of like the 76ers just did. How about Philly? The city of brother, the same concept. They had a good team. They went to playoffs. They were just missing some pieces. They go out and get Jaylen Brown, and now they bring in the GOAT. Now they bring in the GOAT, LeBron James. Guess how much money he gets paid? Oh, just $8 million 2 year deal. Why? He wants the ring. So Alabama got to get ring hungry again. Right now, they're not ring hungry. They're not ring hungry. They want pork and beans. They need to get back to steak mentality.
You just say things that sound good, and there's hardly any substance to half of what you're saying. But we got to hit a timeout. We come back. We keep on rolling and respond to that right here on the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. No substance, because you brought up Indiana as if Indiana didn't go spend a boatload of money on these.
But they bought. My point was they brought in the right pieces.
That's kind of what Alabama's plan was via the portal. Now minus the not spending is like the offensive line part, but I'm saying getting guys that they felt fit what they want to do and were maybe flying under the radar. You got to give them credit, or you don't have to. I'll give them credit on that. Some of the guys that they did bring in for quote unquote budget players, they're going to be good players. They're better than I give them props on their evaluation part of that. Could they have done even more with the offensive line? I 100% agree. But you're making it seem as if like they didn't try to address anything. Like they needed a receiver. They brought in Noah Rodgers. Was he Cam Coleman? No, but he ended up during the spring showing to be one of the more consistent receivers. And he was going to have a large role. He was going to fill in nicely there. And they probably saved a bunch of money. So like I give them credit on that for the way they're navigating it. They're finding good players that are probably on the underrated side of things that will perform much better than people expect them to. So I think that's where you're a little off the mark on that part, right? Like I think Josh Ford.
It's just like Clemson. What is Clemson getting drilled for? Because they didn't go out and get a quarterback. Everybody that's just making
but who does Clemson have? But who do they have?
They got young guys who are high recruits like Alabama. That's probably recruited high.
But you said the same thing about Ty Simpson last year because he hadn't started. No, you did. No, you said the same thing. You said the same thing during preseason. They got a guy that's never played. And I told you, Ty Simpson could play football. Everybody had Ty outside.
I was at the spring game. I saw Ty Simpson.
And you were among the same people that were saying this. Yes, you were. Yes, you were. You said the same thing. They don't have a proven trigger man. They don't have a proven trigger man. You said that.
I did not say that about Ty. No,
bro, run the tape, man. Yes, you
did. Y'all got the tape. I was always behind Ty Simpson. I was. Go back.
I didn't say you didn't like him, but you kept saying that was like a huge issue for Alabama. And in fact, that ended up being their strength, and everything else were the issues.
Okay, well, even if you want to say that.
I'm saying like it was the same story.
Where was Ty Simpson in the playoff game?
Yeah, he struggled, but I mean, come on, man, you can't put it all on him. But he didn't have help. But he didn't have help. But I'm talking about the quarterback position specifically.
Where was Ty Simpson?
People made it seem like Alabama needed to go get a quarterback last year because nobody played. That would have looked stupid. You got to have a guy that ended up going as a first rounder. That's my point. I think there's like it's okay acknowledging. Hold on, let me bring us back. And welcome back into this free-for-all Friday edition of the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. It's a free-for-all. We got the gloves on. Heavyweight boxing match going right now.
I didn't have a chance to listen, but I've been busy with my book stuff. But the thing is, I knew what was going to be happening. I can go back and I see you put the clips out there. You know, you kind of like the huddle tape. You know, you put the highlights out there, Josh Payne, you know, good stuff. But I know if I got on here and I tuned in the day after I said, let me just listen to see what's been said about what's going on down in T-Town, right? And I just knew. I already knew. I could prophesy and say what was happening. But
what is that? You mean what's being said by people that actually keep up with it? You just acknowledge that you don't have time to listen to it. What makes you think that whatever you say is so true, given you just admitted you don't even have time to keep up with stuff? So who do you think out of me and you, because we both played the game at a high level. I get you played the whole decade. You got that. I got you. But I'm saying we both know ball. I'm around here. I cover them. I know people in the building. What makes you so confident that what you say as somebody who doesn't even keep up consistently is so much more consistent or right compared to what I've said?
Because y'all opinions get swayed.
Me. You think you think I'm falling?
I got to live here. But my point
Come
is
on, man.
Let me just say this. fact, Alabama has taken a deep dive the wrong way. That's fact. Fact number 2, nobody is afraid of Alabama anymore. They don't have that intimidating factor
We said
in
that
the
on the show.
country
I agree.
and the SEC. That's fact.
That
Number
is a
3,
fact.
Alabama, Kalen DeBoer is a nice guy here, and they made the playoffs too. Now I'm not.
Wait. What was fact number 1? I missed it. I agree with fact number 2. What was fact number 1? I missed it. I was reading the chat.
Well, I'm just saying they lost their cachet.
Wait, they lost.
The fact is they're not.
I thought you said that was. I thought that was fact number 2. You said nobody fears them.
No, I said nobody fears them no more.
I thought that was fact 2.
Nobody's afraid of them no more.
Yeah, but that was fact 2. I agree with that. What was fact 1? Jackson, do you remember? I thought he said. I thought he said nobody feared Alabama being fact 2. What was fact 1? I was reading the chat. I don't.
That was fact 1. I think he was about to go into fact 2.
Okay, got it. I'm
Do
sorry.
people still fear Georgia though?
Huh?
Do people still fear Georgia?
Yes.
Come on, I don't. They fear Georgia more than Alabama, but can you admit that they don't fear them the same way they feared Georgia 3 or 4 years ago?
You said what you want to about Georgia.
Oh, come on, dude. They do not fear Georgia the same way they did 3 or 4 years ago.
Better program than Alabama the last 3 or 4 years.
I agree with you on that.
Fact.
I agree. That's a fact. I agree with you on that. But I'm telling you, well.
I don't care.
Wait. No. That one's tough because I want to agree. No, it is tough. It is tough. I want to agree with you on that one. But when you look at 2024, Alabama, in fact, was one game away from playing in the national or 2023. I'm sorry, one game away from playing a national championship game. They barely lost to Michigan out in the Rose Bowl, whatever. Right. That was 2023, and they won the SEC championship in 2023. Coach Saban's last year. 24, Coach DeBoer's first year. We lost to Michigan. Wasn't a great year. And then last year, you made it to the SEC championship game, and then you won a playoff game. Georgia has not won a playoff game in several years. So to be fair, even though, like, if you're just saying as a program in terms of maybe consistency, the way in which they play, and then if you add a couple years prior where Georgia went back-to-back, what was that, 20?
Georgia's loaded this year, by the way.
Georgia's got a really good football team. I'm with you. That one's a tough one. But I will say over the last, if you say over the last 5 years, I would say Georgia's got a better program.
Georgia is still elevated up there. They're comfortable at a cruising altitude of 38,000 feet. Alabama has started the descent already. Hey, their plane is going down. I mean, and that's a fact. That was my other fact. I mean, listen, I pull for the Tide, bro. I mean, when I go on the radio in Charlotte with Cal Bailey, he introduced me as part of the Tide.
So you pull for Alabama on other stations, and you come on our own platform.
I want to tell the fans the truth, though, because they get enough of the pat you on the back. I love you, man. We get enough of the feel good, but I'm just being honest. I'm holding them accountable. Kalen DeBoer has not handled what to do with this new era of college football. He's too nice, and just like our attorney,
just made it to the SEC championship game last year. I don't understand. Come on, that's too harsh. That's too harsh, man. That's too harsh.
You're getting drugged. You're getting embarrassed. You're getting beat down. You're going on national television. Millions of people.
Yeah, at least he had the opportunity to get embarrassed, though. All these other coaches didn't even get a chance to get embarrassed.
I'm on TV.
They were at home.
Or I'm on a sitcom, or I'm on a whatever. But you stink. What? You be better off not being on TV. My point is, you get on TV all you want to, but if you suck when you're on TV and when eyeballs are on you, you better off not being on TV. So that my point is,
I don't agree with that. I do.
People remember you. We always say this in the NFL. Coach always say, "Well, people gonna remember you by your last game." Oh yeah. They're going to remember that last game. How you look in that last game, they go into the offseason thinking that's who you are. How did Alabama look the last time they was on the football field? America, chat, YouTube Live, X Live, Facebook, whatever we on. Tide 100.9 on the clicker. How did Alabama look? This is my question. How did the Tide look the last time they played? They looked throw up bad. They looked
and
bad.
listen, and I don't want to sound like I'm making excuses, but so did Oregon, though. I mean, does that mean everybody? No. I'm asking you. I'm asking you a question. You said, how did they? You said you're only as good as your last performance.
Inflation was higher when Biden was the president. Instead of looking at the facts now, who gives a crap about what Biden did? He ain't the president no more. What are you doing now, Trump? The gas is high. It costs $150 for me to fill my truck up. The war is a problem. People that can't afford it. We want to talk about, when President Nixon was there, who gives a rip? That's what you sound like. You sound
no,
like a
that's
politician.
not. No, I'm saying that is the metric you just used. It said you're looking at teams based on their last performance, and I was asking a genuine question because last time I checked, you have people that are predicting Oregon will be in the national championship this year, so they don't have that same approach. They're not saying Oregon got their ass embarrassed in their last game they played.
Got a big time quarterback. And they got a better roster.
I understand why the outlook is better on 2026. I'm just asking you specifically to your point that you made. We got to hit a timeout because when we come back, we only have 30 seconds. We'll stay on the stream and keep this battle going back and forth. But we got to hit a timeout because then we'll have to come back for like 30 seconds and close things out. I'll stick on the stream. You guys want to hear us go back and forth a few more minutes? Join us on our stream at the Miller's Edge. I'm not putting the gloves down right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. You always have me about to run over on time, man. You always got me. That's right, From. If you guys like the back and forth, man, hit that like button, sack that like button. We're having fun. I know some people that might be new here. They're like, man, what is this guy talking about? Hey, listen, it's the pastor of pain. It's my dad. He played 9 years in the league. He played at South Carolina. He didn't play at Alabama. But he believe it or not, he supports Alabama. But when it comes to his takes, he definitely takes the Stephen A. and Feinbaum approach. He's just going to go in on whatever
I don't take Stephen A. approach. Not too much.
No, I'm saying, what do you mean? I'm saying like you're very outspoken. You're very.
I just call it like I said.
But that's not.
Not be like everything is great all the time.
But here's my thing. I don't say everything's great all the time, and I don't sound. To me, this is what I hear though, and it's not. No. Listen, I'm not making excuses. I'm not sunshine pumping. Anybody that listens to me, which a lot of people do every single day, they'll be the first ones to tell you. I'm not a sunshine pumper, but I'm also not a doom and gloom guy. I'm just objective. I just call it how I see it. That's the true definition. What you're doing is not calling it down the middle or how you see it or being objective. You were neglecting the. No, you're laughing, but I'm saying you're neglecting like a large like piece of the puzzle.
You're neglecting. I'm neglecting what?
You're neglecting. Here's my thing. I have no problem agreeing with you. Coach DeBoer and this Alabama football program has had embarrassing moments over the last 2 years. We have lost games that we should not have lost. We have had poor performances. We've got embarrassed on the big stage. I agree with all those things. Those are facts.
Those are big, but that's the big difference.
But, like Coach Saban says, the buts. What I do is I also acknowledge the good that has been done because that is well worth it because that is also a part of the story. That's a part of the equation.
I agree.
We also did go 7-1 in SEC play or whatever it was, right? We also made it to the SEC championship game. We also made it to the playoffs. There's a lot of people. You're clapping. Steve Sarkisian had a very talented roster. Steve Sarkisian had a very talented. Oh, hold on. Let me bring us back. And we're back to close things out on this Free For All Friday. Got real hot at the end there. We're going to continue it on the stream. So if you guys want to continue that at the Miller's Edge. Before we get out of here, don't forget about our friends, Lamprella Law, Education, and Advocacy. Lamprella-law.com is a website for all your representation needs. The official representation right here on the Miller's Edge. Check them out. Academic misconduct, criminal defense matters, you name it. NIL plus all those services for high school, college, and graduate students right there on their website. Lamprella-law.com. The official representation here on the Miller's Edge. That's Lamprilla Law Education Advocacy. That'll do it for us on this Free for All Friday. We appreciate all of you listening, all of our folks helping out. Jackson behind the glass. And we look forward to doing it again on Monday.
Nice holler at you, Jackson. I never
You as well, Pastor Corey.
There you go. Right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC. Jackson, appreciate you, brother. Great job, man. That was fun working with you, man. You ever behind the glass again? We glad to
Jackson's
get you.
good. Jackson's good.
Jackson's really good, man. No, Jackson's like he's a vet. He's just filling in. He's not like new to it.
Yeah, I was gonna say he don't sound like no rookie.
No. Jackson's a vet, man. He works Ryan's show. He's been doing it for years. He's good. He just was filling in. I think Chase has been out and Reed, but let me see in the chat. Let's see. Yes, sir. We'll see you, brother. Somebody on X RME says, can he give credit for the team players he has retained? Like basically saying like the fact that Alabama's been able to retain players, which definitely I think that's important to acknowledge. But I will say though, I think maybe at some point, maybe kind of looking at the balance of things. The only reason I say that is I'm all for retaining players, but if there's anything that we're doing that is hindering us from being even more aggressive when it comes to getting players at positions of needs, like high quality players, I do think it's worth reevaluating. But I will.
Yeah, but are you retaining the right players?
100%. They haven't lost. They haven't lost.
That's
only
fine,
people they lost. They did lose a number of Saban players, which again, I don't want to speak too much on all that because I mean it's not really my place to talk about all that. But that was kind of, I mean,
let me talk about it. That one don't get that right.
No, it's not.
But let me talk about it.
Bro, I work for the network. I mean,
you have to tell me. We said it all the time. But they let players go from Saban guys that were much better than them jokers that they brought in. But nobody want to talk about that. You bring in a kid from my neck of the woods, South Carolina, that had 1 sack in about 3 years. No. Oh, yeah. Don't wreck, chat. Let me tell you, uno. I don't speak Spanish well like Christian, but I do know uno mean one. That's what the guy had. 1 sack. And they let guys that were proven that can play get out of that line. You don't let them guys go. You don't. That was a mistake.
I do think they made a mistake in letting too many of those guys walk. Some of them I understand.
Yeah.
But I do think
but a lot of them wanted to walk because they weren't buying into what they were selling. Period. I will not either confirm nor deny that. Well, I can confirm because some of them have said it in interviews themselves. When they got to other programs like Ohio State, championship programs, they were negative about Alabama. To me, that says something because they're telling the truth. They were there every day. They practiced. They saw game plans. They saw film sessions. They were around what was going on in the program. Players don't just talk because they're mad. They're going to tell you the truth. And they told the truth. Yes, there were Saban guys, and they let them go. They got there, and they said, well, up here, bro, it's a lot different. So that tells me that programs at the high level, Alabama's not there no more. Because they've seen Nick Saban. They've seen Nick Saban at the high level. They've experienced already the high level. Then they go to another program at the high level, and they came from one that has been replaced, and they go, I had to get to where I can do what I'm used to because I wasn't used to it back there where I just came from. That's basically what they were saying, and those things are true. So there is somewhat of a problem with the culture at Alabama. There is. I like Kellen Moore. He is an excellent coach. He's a good coach, but I honestly feel as if he is not going to be satisfactory in Tuscaloosa overall because there's too many blowout games and embarrassments versus the wins and going to the SEC here, there, beating Georgia every time. Yeah, he's going to do but Alabama's looking to stay up at that cruising altitude where they are flying fast and furious, and right now they're on a descent. Yeah, he does some good things. Nobody's taking away that. He's a good coach. But it is not going to reach to where Alabama gets comfortable flying at a cruising altitude. I don't believe that.
Let me ask you this, and I'm gonna get to some of these chat messages because you got the whole world in a frenzy right now. Coach Saban's last year in 2023 was a good year. I'd argue it was maybe one of his best coaching jobs that he's had in his career. We acknowledged on this show they didn't have the same talent to work with. I remember there were several, people that would be frustrated when we would talk about that on the show. You would argue that Alabama's roster was not this elite roster that it once was, and people didn't really hear that. And of course, hindsight, people would agree with you. But my question is, outside of that final year in 2023, where we did win the SEC championship, we defeated Georgia. We also made a playoff run. It was different. It won the 12-team playoffs. It was the last year of the 14 playoffs. And this is not making excuses. This is just me knowing what I know about football. We very much could have and should have won that football game against Michigan. There were several key moments in that football game, especially late, which I'm always the one to say, not one play makes a game. But there were several key moments in that football game where Caleb Downs, he was a freshman. He's responsible for the flat. He has a mental error. They convert on 4th down, get a big pickup. They end up scoring.
That was actually the game.
That was the game. You get that stop on 4th down. There was a special teams play. And that was all with us having a terrible start. The offensive line was awful. They gave up a handful of sacks in like the first quarter. So anyway, I say all that to say Alabama ended up having a good football season that year, and Coach Saban's last. But the year prior, Alabama had a lot of issues, and some of these similar issues that we're still talking about to this day. My point is, you're talking about this descent. Outside of Coach Saban's final year, really, I would say the descent really started around 22. They were able to patch those holes extremely well in 23, his final year, and that's why I think it was one of his best coaching jobs that we have seen in Coach Saban's career. But then you hand the keys over to Coach DeBoer. He's in a transition period. They lose even more players. It was kind of expected that they were going to take a dip. I'm not making excuses for Coach DeBoer, but I think anybody expecting in his first year for them to win 11 games, given all the turnover, all the newness, everything going on, I don't think anybody would have really realistically expected that. And then last season, they showed it. Listen, even though they had bad showings and bad performances, even though there are signs of concern, I'm not denying that. There are. But they also showed improvement. They went 7-1 in the conference, even with all those issues. Hear me out now. Yes, the ball fell on their side. The ball did fall on their side. We could have lost to South Carolina. We could have lost to Missouri. The ball fell in our favor. I'm acknowledging that. But at the end of the day, a win is a win, and they found a way to go 7-1, not having a running game, getting out coached at times. They still found themselves at the SEC championship. All I'm saying is this. I understand both sides. I understand people with your perspective that really lean into those concerns because they're valid concerns. You haven't shown the ability to run the football effectively. You haven't shown consistent physicality. Defense has shown some physicality, just not consistent enough. And sometimes in those big moments, it's kind of dissipated. But I also understand why a lot of Alabama fans, knowing that it looks different and it's an adjustment from Coach Saban, I can understand why you look at it and say, hey, we did all that as bad as we were running the football. Let's see what happens now that we get a new offensive line coach in here. Now we get some more talent in here, some guys that maybe fit a little bit better. If they can run the football a little bit better, we've got good skill players. They're young. But let's see it come together, then go. Here's my thing, and I'll pass it back to you. I just think it's so early, and I think too many people are discrediting the improvement. At the end of the day, a lot of people do this when they evaluate football players. You understand how this process works. When NFL talent or NFL scouts are evaluating college talent, what's one thing they want to look for? Did the guy improve year to year? You know that's a fact. They want to see that. They don't like when they see guys plateau or he had a big year his first year, then he kind of fell off. They want to see improvement every year. We've only had 2 years to see Coach DeBoer. In those 2 years, we can agree on one thing. There was improvement. Now, with the intricacies of the game, when you pop the hood, there's still some key issues. But we did see improvement. That said, I think it's just too early it's just too early, in my opinion, to be talking the way some of these analysts are talking.
But when you say improvement from what?
You go from 9-3, then you go to 10-2. You go 7-1 in conference play. You beat Georgia on the road. You make a run like 4 straight ranked wins. First time done in the SEC or whatever.
From his,
I'm saying from year one to year 2, there was clear there's undeniable improvement. Now the intricacies of the game itself, I'm with you. There wasn't like drastic improvements. The running game went down. Granted, they rushed for like 179 per game the first year. Jalen Milroe was like the leading rusher. He was responsible probably for 60% of your rushing. I would have to look at traditional running game stats compared to traditional running game stats year 1 to year 2 to really have a definitive answer on that. I don't have that in front of me. Defensively, I want to say there was slight improvement or it was about the same. Still top unit. You know what I'm saying? Passing game.
Well, let's simplify.
I'd have to look at that. Offensively, there wasn't like some like huge improvement. So if you're saying like the team itself and like the different phases of the game, there was not like drastic improvement. But his job at the end of the day, we as football players, we say this: a win is a win, and you can't pick and choose when that applies.
Okay.
So to me, that I consider that improvement. I'll let you go ahead.
I think you're over exaggerating the improvement because from a win standpoint, was an improvement? Yes, facts. Did they go into the playoffs? Second game, yes. But then we look at blowouts. We look at the domination. So I look at how they ended the year. Blowout, embarrassed by Indiana. I look how they ended the SEC regular season in Atlanta, domination by Georgia. So I look at other things and say, God, that wasn't so good either. So if I do the process of elimination, I don't see drastic improvement. Even though, yes, they went further than whatever, I can say that. But there were so many negative things, too, that takes away from those good things. So here's what I'm going to say. And I ain't going to beat a dead horse here.
Oh, that's good. We got a bunch of people listening. I think they're enjoying it.
But the reality is Alabama is not the same. Yes, Nick Saban things what we talked about it. And I said it was more from a recruiting standpoint because I thought Nick Saban in his latter years did not recruit the right defensive linemen when they were dominant, when they were winning and in championship form every year. They were dominant on both sides of the ball in the trenches. I thought that Alabama began to lose steam in those areas at the end of Nick Saban's career.
Offensive line too, I would argue.
Yeah, I said both sides of the line of scrimmage. That's what I said. So my thing is that's fact. Those things are true. But they still, and you alluded to this about they should have been a championship team this last year. They should have. There's no doubt about it. They made some mistakes. They were young in areas, key areas that Michigan give them a credit, exploited, got Caleb Downs in a situation where he made a mistake. Because you make that play, if he's in the flat where he needs to be, tackle the guy in the game over, Alabama wins. And they'll win the championship that year. Because they would have beat Caleb to the board for sure. I mean, but my thing is, listen, they got to prove to me that they know what they're doing. Yes, have they done a lot of good things in his 2 years? Yes. Not going to deny that. Is there a lot of question marks and concerns from me as a former player, as one that's covered the game for a lot of years after playing? Absolutely. Do I think they have mishandled the portal and not attacked areas in which they needed to? Absolutely. Which gives me cause for pause because, I know the quarterbacks that he got are talented.
Uh-oh. His phone might have got that.
Are they talented enough?
Oh, there it goes.
To win championship? Right? No. And therefore, what are you waiting on? We're playing in a league right now. It's win now, baby. It's invest where I need to invest now, baby. It ain't that I got time to bring in all these recruits and develop and get them in the weight room. Like you had the time when you came to Alabama, things were different. You know, you could be 210, 212, and in 2 years you get to 245, like all that stuff, and they ain't have to play you right away. And you can take a red shirt. All this stuff, the landscape of college football has changed. And everybody now is saying, I got to try to win now. I ain't got time to wait on guys. It hurts high school recruiting. It hurts these younger guys because they're going to have to go into some of them, the lower level of schools, and try to get in that portal later on. That's what they're going to have to do. That's how the system is being ran now. So I just don't think they've done a great job of doing that. I think it's still too lackadaisical for me as a coach. He's too nice. You know, they got better than not serving ice cream every day and watermelon after training camp practices and all stuff that they were doing in year one. So I think he's doing better, getting a little, but they got to get tougher. They got to challenge these guys. They got to hold these kids accountable. They got to get to the meeting rooms and to be in meetings on time. They got to get back to fourth quarter mentality. They got to get back to where it means something. And I think this is a problem across college football, period, because they get paid. You sitting there telling me that they got a quarterback in Keelan Russell that he's gotten paid or getting paid $2.1 million. I mean, you getting paid $2.1 million.
That's less than a third of
and
what
haven't
Miami's
done
quarterback's going to play.
one
Okay,
freaking thing.
Fair.
That's a problem. It's a major problem.
I mean, but in the NFL, though, I mean, if you get Ty Simpson's going to be making like what? I mean, his signing bonus like $14-15 million. His ass ain't going to play for 2 years. I mean, so I mean, it happens. I mean, that's kind of just the business. You know, you got to pay players something. I get what you're saying. It's a whole awful lot of money, but at the end of the day, he was a highly rated recruit. Other schools would gladly pay him that money and maybe not have him wait. We can hear you loud and clear, by the way. I think it's going through your car. Try turning the volume up on your car, or leave and come back. Let me catch up on some of the chat messages that we have while which he's back on here already. All right, let me read some of these chat messages. I just was saying, I get what you're saying about paying guys that much money, but at the end of the day, I mean, that's in the NFL. You got players that are making
Yeah, but it's not the NFL, bro.
I know it's not. Listen, I'm saying, think about this. You either have the option to A, pay a guy like that who you anticipate being your starting quarterback in a year or two, right? And know that he's going to grow and develop in your system. And then when he gets there, like when it's time to play, you're not, because the other thing people forget about when you go bring in a guy from the portal, yeah, he's going to be proven and experienced, but you also got to make sure that he comes in and learns your system. He meshes with everybody you're bringing in. If I had the option to say, hey, I can go pay a guy $5 million for 1 year when he's a junior or senior, or I can have a guy and pay him $1 million his freshman year, 1.5 his sophomore year, then 2.1 his third year. That's still less than I pay for that one guy for 1 year, and he's homegrown and he's going on year 3 in this system. So I kind of see the logic at the quarterback position there from that standpoint. If you're talking about like an edge rusher, somebody, like that's a little bit different. To me, you can go grab an edge rusher, throw him in there. Quarterback, we know you can have success doing that too. I'm just saying, I don't have a problem necessarily growing and developing talent the way they're doing it, because they're getting really good players that are going to end up being dudes, right? Like the guys that they've recruited at quarterback. My biggest concern is who you're putting around them. Not skill guys. We can get good receivers. That's pretty easy for the staff to recruit quarterbacks and receivers. I feel like their identity is kind of built within that. And I know Michael Carroll, I know Jackson Lloyd, they were higher recruited players in the offensive line, but I want to see even more. Like I want to see us establish an identity up front.
We got some couple chat. I got to roll in about 5 minutes.
Yeah, no, you're good. You're good. I mean, there's a bunch. Trevor says part of the natural pushback is Bama in the playoffs instead of Texas. I'm a Bama honk, but that was not right. I mean, Texas would have been a 3-loss team. They're a good football team, but I don't know who I would have put them in over, other than maybe the small JMU type teams. That's true, bro. I say it all the time because Alabama, y'all helped create this with upholding the standard every year. Pastor Payne is right. I'm behind a bit. Had to pause. Got a call. Yeah, I mean, and that was somebody was talking about this other day, a former player, just like that's the one thing that sucks about this new era. I don't feel like it's the same. I know they're trying their best to do that because they're trying to keep these guys, recruit them and keep them in the program 3-4 years. But with us, man, it was like passing a torch every single year. Who was that? It might have been Trent or somebody. Roy says it's fair game if we went to if we want to hold the players accountable to the tradition and the excellence of the players before them, set them by right. The head coach should be held to a standard also.
Agreed.
Jay Burrow says Saban's literal last year he failed to make the national title game while Kalen DeBoer did. Kalen DeBoer had a
oh god
that come on, Jay Burrow. That's a crazy comment. I mean Saban did it in the SEC, bro. We can't compare that. And that was when the Pac-12 Washington was in the Pac-12. I mean, come on, man. I mean, I don't know about that one. Lisa Rawls says, Pastor, do you know what the NIL rev share offers to the players who left were versus what they were worth? Are you aware of the issues going on with this prior to the Rose Bowl? So, I mean, there's no doubt guys are going to be offered a little bit more money to go other places. But, again, I don't want to dive in too much of that because, I mean, it's some of that. I mean, I don't know if it was my place to be talking about all that. But I will say, I mean, I think they probably they were a little bit too comfortable letting a number of guys walk. Some of those guys, I get it. I mean, they're expecting a little bit more and you probably weren't interested in paying that. But there were some of those guys where it really wasn't a huge money factor. I mean, yes, money's going to be involved, but I think, I don't know. I don't want to get too much into that, but I do think they probably were a little bit too comfortable letting those guys test the waters instead of retaining.
Well, I don't mind them letting them go if they replace them with at least same kind of ability.
Well, and they
take a back seat.
Well, and here's the thing. So, like, let's circle back to that, or let's take a look back real quick. You gave a good example. Like Zulu, I think is going to be he's a quality depth piece, right? I think he's probably going to have more opportunities here than he's had at South Carolina. He's a 1.5 career sack guy through 3 years or so, right? So, I mean, like, I don't expect, even with more opportunities, maybe a few sacks this season, which I think is helpful. But in my opinion, if I had to stack him up next to Quay Russaw, I'm taking Quay Russaw. I know people in the chat are going to be like, oh, what did Quay Russaw? I'm telling you right now, I'm not just talking about production here. I'm just saying both of them as players. Quay Russaw is a better football player. Now, if you're talking about the price for each player, I'm sure Quay was probably going to be a little bit more, but he didn't really just leave because of money. I mean, you can ask him yourself.
How much did the kid from South Carolina get to come to Alabama? You know,
I know Tompkins. I know how much Tompkins got. I don't remember Zulu's off the top of my head, but I mean, Tompkins was not cheap. Just to be clear. So, I mean, they picked and choose who they wanted to pay money to. And Tompkins, I think he's going to be better than I even anticipated initially just watching his tape. He wasn't like stellar at Southern Cal. Like, I mean, let's just be clear. I mean, he was a good player and he flashed. A little inconsistent, especially in the run game. But they paid him good money. Zulu, I don't remember off the top of my head. Saban was before NIL. Well, not really, because NIL became a thing in 2021, like after that season. So Saban technically was 22 and 20. He had at least 2 seasons. Might even have been, was it 21? He had at least 2 seasons. NILs are downfall. It's not about Kalen. It's about the money. More money definitely would help. There's no doubt about that.
So let me ask. So basically, I was at South Carolina the other day doing my photo shoot for my book. Talked to coach, and this NIL thing is tricky because the booster clubs are basically controlling that now. I mean, so collectives is not so much. I mean, back a few years ago, it was Saban, it was about the collective. It was like Alabama. It was about going to trust at South Carolina and all these other places, But it's now the booster club or the school per se that controls that.
Wait, hold on. No, for us, Alabama is the one in control for all that for us.
But the school is making a decision on this money.
No. So you have revenue sharing, and then you have Alabama is responsible for raising money and
for NIL and raising money.
Correct. NIL opportunities, raising money, and all that stuff. Correct.
But the 20 whatever million that they got per year comes from the school.
Yes, from revenue generated from athletics.
That's right. Where it wasn't like that before. It was all about the.
Before it was
Alabama.
it was only collectives raising money. Now you have there's two. You have revenue share, which is money generated from the school or the athletic department, and then you have the collectives separately who are getting endorsement deals for these guys and marketing and all that stuff. You're also supposed to have what we call is like the NIL Go, where these deals are supposed to be processed and approved, which that whole thing has been a little bit of a mess. Dan, you were right about that. We were one of the most penalized teams during Coach Saban's one of his final years, which was so uncharacteristic. It was just weird. But that was true. We had terrible discipline, more so like on-field discipline. Not like we had a bunch of issues off the field, but terrible on-field discipline, man, which was very, very uncharacteristic.
I almost wish they would have had problems off the field. I mean,
beat Texas
on the
twice
field.
at Washington. Yeah, he did. That's true.
Let me just say this, man. I talked to another guy, the coach. Okay, he's in my group, Cigar Lounge Bible Study men's group. His son plays at NC State, quarterback, and it's amazing how much money these guys are getting. I mean, it's just I'm talking about $500,000 is no problem for a college athlete right now. I mean, it's unbelievable.
That's like for a decently rated 4-star. That's kind of like the average is like 4 something. And I would have been worth about it. Listen, I was a 5-star on one site, top player in the state of South Carolina, number 2 edge rusher on ESPN, or maybe even 1 at one point. I know me and Rashawn were up there. Hey, listen, I would have, man. I think I was 1 on ESPN. I would have took them. The way I think business wise, I hate to say it like this, but boy, I would have took them. I shouldn't say it like that. I think Ryan Coleman Williams' dad had tweeted something saying they took Alabama to the bank without an agent. I don't know why he tweeted that, but he tweeted that.
It's telling the truth.
Yeah, but I'm saying why? But I'm saying
how much does Ryan Coleman Williams make?
He is verified at. I hate pocket watching, but it's public knowledge on On3. They have him verified making. Yeah, they have him verified making 1.7, I believe. No, I'm just saying. I wonder why his dad decided to come tweet that.
Keelan Russell.
Oh, 1.8. 1.8.
Keelan Russell makes more money than Ryan Coleman Williams.
Yes.
You about to make me so bad with Lord.
Well, here we go. Because I got it on the screen.
I ain't gonna lie.
On the screen, it shows Ryan Coleman Williams. You see a green check mark. Big old ad. Come on, man. 1.8 NIL evaluation with a check mark. So allegedly that's their new system. And then I think Keelan Russell was actually the only other guy that had a verified. Hold on. Let me see.
I was about ready to say a bad word.
Why?
How can Keelan Russell, how many downs have he played?
Oh, 2. So 2. This guy got him at 2 verified.
2 downs?
No. 2 million verified. I mean, he's played reserve time, but here's the thing, though. But we're talking about positional value as well.
I don't.
Who's going to be valued more, quarterback or receiver?
I'm talking about college football. A man that has shown he can play at the highest level in some big time games. Yeah, he has been a little bit inconsistent the last year, right? But I don't blame that all on him. But you're talking about a guy that's sitting over there making 7 figures and haven't even fought it good on the field. I mean,
what?
I mean, come on, there's something wrong with this.
Okay. So are you saying there should just be like a freshman cap? Maybe a freshman cap.
Give him $200,000. Give him say, dude, you got to go prove yourself. And if you prove yourself and you playing at a certain level, then you can categorize them and make it X amount of dollars per positional value and all that good stuff. This is stupid stink. I'm talking about this is something I wish I would give some dude $2 million for sitting on his diarrhea butt. I mean, this is like, come on, man. Like, this is ridiculous. I'm sorry, I don't care who it is. It ain't just Alabama. It's everywhere. You can't get $2 million and then get. Oh, you bet not. Let me get ninja on these jokers. You bet not be a starter. Let get beat out. You getting cut. That's what should happen. They should have you get cut.
They can do that. I mean, that's kind of what they do when these guys transfer out. They're on 1 year deals.
I ain't waiting on them to transfer out. If you ain't my starter, okay, well then if you're a backup, I'm paying you backup value. Well, they should start to put these things in their contract because you're just gonna let them. The problem is you give them all this money, they have no desire, they sit around, they don't work hard like they used to. They getting checks, they buying cars, they got Louis Vuitton, they at the mall all the time, they got a gold grill, all these chains all wrapped around their neck, big enough to pull a car. I mean, all this freaking stuff, and they sitting their tail on the bench. I'm sorry. That's ridiculous, man. This is what's wrong with a program talking about we ain't got no money. No. Put it in the contract. Make it about incentivize the contract.
But wait.
Give a position of value. If you start, you play X amount of minutes or X percentage of the plays, you score many touchdowns.
You get a bonus.
You make it incentivized instead of just giving them free money.
But
I
just want to throw this out there because I think you would appreciate it. That's why Alabama's approach, and this is why I was trying to tell you when you're kind of going in on them not going after certain guys, you also have to consider their approach is they want to recruit guys and they want them to be paid given how they perform. Meaning, hey, we're not going to pay you as much as some of these other places out of high school, but we'll guarantee that we'll reward you for your play. And as you continue to develop and get better, you will receive bonuses annually, right? Accordingly. So you should,
But I get all of that.
Yeah. So I will say Alabama does do that.
But let me give you a but.
Okay.
If you're okay with not winning championships, if you're okay with not being as good, then you take that route. And if the program's
I hear what you're saying, but I'm saying like you can't really have both though. You can't say what you're
saying.
Alabama,
Alabama, you can't go that route.
I agree with what you're saying, but I agree with what you're saying, but I'm telling you from your philosophy though, like you can't have it both ways from what you're saying. You can't be mad at like they're doing what you're saying in terms of the system, but then you're also saying, but you can't do that because you're Alabama. That's why I'm trying to tell you, like, it's almost like a lose-lose situation at this point. You can go out there and spend a boatload of money.
I'm taking that $2 million from Keelan Russell. I'm taking 1.5 of that, and I'm going to find me a quarterback or somebody that's played a lot, that somebody's going to push my two young guys or whatever, or find me a tackle. I'm taking some of that money from these other guys.
Wait.
I'm paying them less money.
So you're taking money from the guy that you anticipate being your best chance of having a Heisman, contender, a guy in New York.
You can't even mention that. They don't even do that.
What are you talking about? No. I'm saying currently in that quarterback room. I'm saying currently in that quarterback room.
Oh, crap.
I'm saying currently. What are you talking? I'm saying currently in their quarterback room.
About a guy
No. I'm saying why would you? Bro, you're not listening. You said you would take that money from him. I'm saying why would you take money from him when he is the guy with the highest ceiling, the highest potential to be competing to win a Heisman? When you got other young quarterbacks in that room, or maybe Austin, I'm saying why would you take that much money from him? And then what is he going to do? If Alabama were to say, "Oh, we'll give you $500K because you haven't played a snap," guess what the hell? Texas, Ohio State, who they continuously are taking players from us because they understand, hey, we'll pay these guys some money, come up here. We trust in our development of these guys. They might not have maxed out their development of Alabama, but they've come here and they've had some success. So I'm saying you can't do that. Like, that don't make any sense.
Yes, you can.
Then you'll have no good players. If you take that approach, you will have no good players. Who is going to come play for you if you're telling them, "Hey, you got to offer,
tell me somebody
offer
gonna
$2
give
million."
Keelan Russell $2 million?
1,000%. I'm willing to bet $2 million that somebody would give him $2 million.
I ain't got $2. But the thing is,
bro, come on, man. You don't think somebody would pay that young man $2 million?
No.
After what he just now listen.
For
you
what?
can say you can say that you can
for dominating in high school.
No, not just that. Listen. Wait. You can say that spring games don't hold any weight, and I'll be the first one to tell you can't put too much stock in the spring game. Too many fans do that. It's not very smart to do that because you're going to set your expectations way too high for a lot of guys. But I will say that it is true that there are a number of everybody. These college coaches, they pay attention to spring games. What was the whole deal about tampering? Did that not matter? So do spring games not matter at all? Why would other college coaches use spring games to evaluate talent at other universities? I'll wait. They do matter some. And you're telling me people wouldn't have watched the way he just performed at A-Day, knowing he's a redshirt freshman. You got the new 5-for-5 rule. This guy has 4 years to go play college football. He technically redshirt, doesn't matter. 5-for-5. He's got 4 years remaining. This guy was a number one quarterback. I think number one player coming out of high school on some sites, maybe. Regardless, you're telling me you don't think a team like Texas, Oregon, of course, they like to develop quarterbacks, Ohio State, whoever. You don't think they would consider paying him $2 million when you have high school kids that have not even sat in a quarterback room in college, which he has, or played a snap, and they're getting 1 to 1.5. You're telling me nobody would pay that guy $2 million. Come on, man. That don't even make sense. Like, I get your logic of like they need to earn it, but bro, the market is the market. If Texas is going to do it, you have no choice but to be in that realm. Tennessee, just listen to this. You're going to be mad about this one. Tennessee just got a kid to commit, and his deal as a running back, this kid plays running back, $2 million annually. Now, I think they worked it into some 3-year deal, $2 million. So it's like a $6 million deal. And they're
out
of high school. And he hadn't even played his senior year. And they're going to offer airfare for his family to travel. And if they're doing that, I'm pretty sure they're probably going to have him set up with some type of housing or some type of car.
You know what? This right here makes me don't even want to watch college football.
That's what I'm saying. You're complaining. If anything, you should respect how Alabama's doing it. Because
I don't respect how they're doing it. But
bro, I get what you're saying. For them to uphold their standard, they probably have no choice. But I'm saying, to be fair, they're not falling into the whole trap.
Here's what's happening.
I'll give them credit on that.
High school people. I like Deion. I know Deion hadn't won, but I'm not. If I'm a head coach right now, my high school recruiting is going to be very limited. If I got a budget, if I got $24 million and I got a good NIL people that can get deals, I'm going to do what Indiana did. I'm going to get players every year that has played football that I ain't got to worry about doing so much developing and getting weight on them and nutrition. They've already done that. Let the other schools, that these flunky schools that do it, and they transfer out for the money. I'm gonna build my team. I'm gonna put my money on that. I'm not giving some unproven dude $2 million to sit his tail over there on the bench in hopes that one day he might turn out. So what if he isn't? And I done kept him around 3 years, and I've given him $6 million, and he played 19 quarters of football in 3 years. No.
Look at your buddy Chris Lowe. This is your buddy, right? Chris Lowe, good friend of ours. This is according to him. This kid has not played a snap of senior season football. He hadn't even played his senior year of high school, and he just committed to Tennessee. Deal worth $6 million over 3 years, around $2 million annually, and also includes family travel benefits to attend his college games.
Well, this dude must be a freak of nature.
From his tape that I've seen, he definitely is a dude. Now $2 million for running back, I don't know if I can justify that. I don't care who you are, but I mean, I'm guessing he's pretty damn good.
I mean, I'm getting. I'm going ahead and smoke. I'm gonna smoke my cigar. But if I wasn't saved and filled with the Holy Spirit, I probably would smoke a joint based on this conversation and do a shot of bourbon or two, because this is how sickening this is. I'm chat. I don't do that because I'm saved and filled with the Holy Spirit. Catch that point first. But the thing is, my thing is, this is so stupid. And I don't know how long it's going to last. This is one reason I can't get caught up in, like, this drives me nuts. I mean, and if you make college football some kind of pro league so they can develop, they can earn money, something like giving them this kind of money out of high school is stunch ridiculous. I mean, it's ridiculous, period. I mean, giving a kid this kind of money that don't know how to handle money, a lot of them have never had money, and you putting this kind of thing, they ain't gonna work, bro. They ain't gonna work hard. They gonna do what they have to do. They ain't gonna miss meetings. They ain't gonna practice. They ain't gonna lift as hard. They're not. This is why the game in itself, college football, the game. I'm just talking about the game, has gone down tremendously. It's gone down tremendously. It ain't the same. And so, because these kids are getting paid this life-changing, some of them generational changing money, and hadn't done crap but beat a Catholic school on Friday night and run up some stats, and somebody gave them a star rating. Come on, man. I'm sorry. I can't get down with it. I just can't get down with it. I think it's absolutely sickening. And yeah, I'm about these kids learning how to work, learning work ethic, and going through all the trials and tribulations that you have to go through to earn the bag, so to speak. But just giving out free bags, like when I just giving out government cheese back in the day when I was growing up. Hey, I had to wait in line. Let me get this cheese. Gotta get in that cheese line. These kids are in the cheese line, and because they have ran up stats on Friday nights against these schools, and then the high schools even worse, because they schools coming from everywhere. All these charter schools, this school, they becoming all sports schools. You ain't got to just go to class on the computer for 3 hours and then the sports all day, lift weights and play baseball, play whatever. It's like this world is so screwed up, bro. It is, man.
Dang, you feel a type of way, man. I mean, I get it. It's frustrating, but damn,
it's screwed up. This world is screwed up, bro.
Yeah, but okay, but I mean, brother, I mean, I get it's frustrating, but I mean, yeah, it ain't that deep now. I mean, I ain't gonna say the world's messed up. It's gonna be the system's the world is messed up, but not because kids are making this much money via high school, whatever.
It is messed up. You pay a kid $6 million,
it's
and
the
even
system
playing in the senior year. I mean,
the system
that's messed
though.
up. I know it's the system, but the system is screwed up. That's what Coach Saban and everybody been trying to tell him. This is screwed up. This is what he was saying. The guardrails. This thing had no guardrails. I mean, this is open freeway, baby. And you expect things to be open and honest? There's going to be cheating. There's going to be poaching. There's going to be all the things of tampering. There's going to be that. That's what Pete was saying at the podium the other day. I mean, there's going to be some crazy. But don't act like this ain't really wasn't going on before. But it has, but not to this degree. I mean, so all I'm saying, I got to get off here. But all I'm saying is the football side of things, and I'm not that guy, but I'm just saying, I understand, you understand, getting an opportunity, being thankful and blessed, to get a chance to get a scholarship, getting recruited, it was a big thing, right? And getting to college and having a chance to play at a university like Alabama or South Carolina, wherever, a chance to get developed, get into a good system, and then one day hear your name called by an NFL football team. That's a beautiful thing. I mean, yeah, I think players should get money based on the TV contracts and the revenue, that the school is making. There's no doubt, but it should be a bottom line salary.
There should be guidelines because it's just growing and
growing. And then you can say we
got
got incentive packages that will keep you driven. that will keep you motivated to go out and do well and compete and earn. Nobody has a problem paying you. Hey, you go make all SEC. You lead a team in sacks, you lead a team in rushing, reception, passing, whatever.
Right.
There's going to be incentives there for you, right? You make All-American, the big incentives. You make All-Conference incentive. You put things like my contract early on with the Giants was like that. I didn't make a lot of money. It was, $100-something thousand, but I could have made, if I do well, I'll make $500,000-$600,000. Back in the 90s, that was a lot.
Right.
But
And
guess
that's
what?
kind of Alabama's approach somewhat to an extent.
But they already had a bunch of guys though, like Lawrence Taylor and Phil Simms and O.J. Anderson and Everson Walls, and all these guys though had gotten to a place where the team was built that they made a lot of money. But I'm saying, but for a young guy that's coming in, I'm drafted, I'm looking to do some things. Guess what? Load it up with incentives, and I'm gonna go work my tail off. Don't talk to me in practice about brother-in-law system. When we doing one-on-one against the backs, or one-on-one against the tight end. Oh, bro, I'm bringing it. It.
No, I agree with you on that one. I think everybody in the chat can agree with that. That this system needs to be corrected. It's a little out of hand when you see $2 million going to running backs that haven't even stepped foot on a college campus outside of a visit. And hopefully we can see some of those changes be made in the very near future. I know what's in my near future. That is to get some lunch. I know you got your lunch already, about to hit your cigar bar up. So that being said, we're going to get out of here. That'll do it for us this Free For All Friday. Really good show.
Cigar lounge. Don't call it a bar. It's a lounge.
Cigar bar, cigar lounge.
Lounge. No, it's not a bar. It's a lounge. Get it right. Lounge.
I mean, just like there's clubs, there's lounges.
It's just
no. I'm saying, I guess I was just telling you that the word lounge in your head sounds so much better. But I'm telling you, when I hear lounge, I know lounges where there's women and drinks and stuff as well. So I mean, I think
like
people just know cigar. Yes, but I'm saying people know it's just a cigar place. You go to talk sports, sit down, whatever. That said, that'll do it for us.
Check out the new cigar. I'm sure my boy Reagan got them at R&R.
Yes, that Code Miller's Edge R&R Cigars.
Or you get you a nice pipe when you're an author like me now.
And well, let's get the book released and published and finished up first, and then we'll add.
Well, it's funny if you go look at what's up there, you see that's in the author's hands. So I'm in the publisher's hand. I am an author now, and I'm already 3/4 on my second book.
Are you?
So, but anyway, check out me on Facebook. You can see what's going on with it. The photo shoot's done. Working on the book cover now. October the 2nd is the official release date. You can catch me on Amazon, Books A Million, all the Christian bookstores. It's going to be out everywhere. It's going to be awesome, from the gridiron to the gospel, and going to be some good stuff. Good stuff.
There you go. That said, hope you guys have a great rest of y'all's day. Great weekend. Next week we'll be back. If you guys are new, tuning in, we do this Monday through Friday for our radio show. We post extra videos over on our YouTube video. I do film breakdowns, film analysis. We'll dive into that heavy, especially once the season comes. We'll break down every single game, preview matchups, do a post-game breakdowns, analysis, all that. So make sure you guys check us out on YouTube. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. We just hit 5K. Now we're on the road to 10K. So share the video, like the videos. Yeah, YouTube is doing really well. So if you guys don't mind, hit that like button on the way out. We appreciate it. That always helps us out, helps the channel grow, helps more people find us, and gets more people in the chat for you guys to discuss things with as well. So it's always good. Helps everybody out. So have a great rest of y'all's week. Go ahead.
I was saying blessings. Have a great weekend.
Absolutely. You do the same, chat. You guys do the same. Hit that like button on the way out, and we will see you guys on Monday right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC.